Chapter 685. In the chaos on a god mountain, the golden rock circled. Immortal Emperor Guangxian led his people in. He had the method to open it and knew this place well. The golden rock did not attack and only looked. The golden light path dissipated and the immortal formation continued to seal the god mountain. Sun Li asked respectfully, "Moon Goddess, do you know the method to open it?" Moon Goddess shook her head. "I only know that there is a method I left behind inside." North Demon shook his head too. In his inherited memories, he only mentioned one thing and did not know the method to open it. Immortal Emperor Guangxian glanced at them provocatively and slowly disappeared into the God Mountain. "Just go in directly," Jiang Chongkong said calmly. The immortal formation here was equivalent to a late-stage immortal emperor. It was not difficult for him. The divine aura was very faint and looked weak, but it contained a monstrous terror. The immortal formation was forcefully suppressed and a hole was torn open. Moon Goddess looked at him in surprise. Sun Li and the other two were shocked. "What immortal emperor realm are you now?" This was definitely not a place that ordinary immortal emperors could roam freely. Jiang Chongkong said calmly, "We will talk about it in the future. Let's focus on this God Mountain first." The golden rock on the God Mountain still did not come down. It did not even look at them. They tore open the immortal formation and came to the foot of the God Mountain, but did not see Immortal Emperor Guangxian and the others. Immortal Emperor Guangxian and the others went up directly. They still had to think of a way to climb up. Boom! The immortal formation on the ground exploded. Divine light shot into the sky and golden light tore through. The chaotic divine power dissipated and the golden light was destroyed. The violent wind stopped. Jiang Chongkong looked up at the God Mountain and planned to fly them up. The Moon Goddess also looked up, but she continued walking forward. At the foot of the God Mountain, a golden tunnel appeared in their sight. Jiang Chongkong asked curiously, "How did Moon Goddess know that there is a tunnel here?" Moon Goddess shook her head. "I am not sure either. I suddenly remembered that I have been here before. Maybe it has been too long and Moon Goddess forgot," North Demon said. Jiang Chongkong's eyes twinkled. Moon Goddess was just a soul left behind by her main body. It was normal that she could not remember after sleeping for so many years. The few of them entered the passageway. Within the golden passageway, there were murals of the golden-winged Great Peng. "Did the Moon God remember something?" Jiang Chongkong asked. "There's a method you left behind here, so you must have been here before." It was very likely that he was a participant here. The Moon Goddess sighed softly, "No." Although she knew that she had left some tricks here and that this was an experimental field, she didn't know anything about it. She had lost too much of her memory. Perhaps the original body did not leave any concrete memories for her. Jiang Chongkong did not ask any more questions and began to speed up. A miserable shriek suddenly rang out. The Northern Devil, who had been following behind him, was suddenly split in two. Jiang Chongkong's expression changed. He hurriedly used his divine power to protect them. He took out a healing pill and fed it to him. A special divine power lingered on the wound. It also had the aura of space. "Is it a dimensional creature?" the Moon Goddess asked coldly. Jiang Chongkong frowned. "The creations here can already create immortal emperors? If an immortal emperor was created, only a peak immortal emperor spatial beast would be able to escape his detection. If it was a late-stage immortal emperor, it would definitely not be able to escape his detection. However, the golden-winged Great Peng was only in the late stage. How could it create a peak immortal emperor? Wasn't it afraid of killing the golden-winged Great Peng and escaping?" The Moon Goddess shook her head. She was not sure. After getting rid of the spatial divine power, the Northern Devil's injuries stabilized. With the help of the pill, he was almost fully recovered. "You're pretty lucky. The other party probably didn't attack you on purpose. You were just affected by it." Jiang Chongkong enveloped them with his divine power and continued forward. If a peak immortal emperor wanted to kill a midstage immortal king like the Northern Devil, he would not even be able to save him in time. They traveled quickly in the golden passageway. Not long later, Jiang Changkong's body paused. He had also felt the attack. The terrifying spatial divine power had almost torn apart his defenses. Divine power surged out, but there was nothing. The surrounding space was very firm, and he could not tear it apart. I need to be faster. Jiang Changkong's expression turned serious. He immediately rushed forward at full speed. The thing in the dark was probably much stronger than he had imagined. Although he did not use his full strength just now, he had used 80% of it. The Golden Crow Immortal Sutra had reached the Great Circle, the peak of the Immortal Emperor realm. His Xian technique and Tao body had also reached the midstage. Amongst the peak, he was definitely an expert. The only thing he had to be wary of were peak immortal emperors and those with saint artifacts. But just now, he only felt a streak of spatial power. He did not feel anything else. If the other party had hidden it, its speed would have far exceeded his. The passageway gradually led upwards. If this continued, their destination might be the peak of the God Mountain. As for the murals on the passageway, they glanced at them. They were not interested. Boom! The passageway suddenly shook. Tragic cries came from above and reverberated throughout the entire passageway. It was the immortals of the heavenly court. Jiang Changkong hurried over. This was a wide space with 3 containers. The creations inside had all been turned into pieces of meat. Apart from these, there were corpses all over the ground, sliced into pieces by the spatial divine power. These corpses were all immortals of the heavenly court. Without immortal Emperor Guangxian and pagoda-bearing heavenly king, they should have gone up. Sun Li glanced around and said. Jiang Changkong nodded and led them up. Looks like they were guided by the golden light here. They didn't go straight to the top. The heavenly emperor doesn't fully understand this place either, Northern Demon sneered. Tragic cries could be heard from afar, sending chills down their spines. Jiang Changkong's expression gradually became more solemn. As they advanced, the frequency of the spatial force attacks became more frequent. But no matter how hard he looked, he could not find the owner of the spatial power. It appeared out of thin air and it seemed to be random. After blocking the spatial power, they arrived at another space. A broken golden pagoda fell beside a broken container. Pagoda-bearing heavenly king, you can come out now, Jiang Changkong said calmly. Inside the golden pagoda, pagoda-bearing heavenly king was still alive. Pagoda-bearing heavenly king crawled out with blood all over his body. He was almost cut in half at the waist. You're in such a sorry state. Jiang Changkong waved his hand and helped him get rid of the spatial divine power. He glanced at the broken container and the pieces of the corpses. His expression suddenly froze. Dimensional beasts? The dead dimensional beasts were cut into dozens of pieces. The cuts were smooth and clean. The dimensional beasts didn't come back to life. Instead, they were cut into pieces by the spatial power. Something's not right here. It's very different from what the heavenly emperor said. Pagoda-bearing heavenly king's expression was dark. The heavenly emperor didn't tell us that there's such a strange spatial power here. Where's immortal Emperor Guangxian? Jiang Changkong asked. Since pagoda-bearing heavenly king was still alive, immortal Emperor Guangxian shouldn't be dead either. He's moving forward. Pagoda-bearing heavenly king nursed his injured body and said solemnly, the heavenly emperor said that there's a divine tool origin here and he wants it. Divine tool origin? Sun Li and Northern Demon looked at Jiang Changkong in astonishment. The divine tool origin wasn't a place that ordinary people could pass through. The test subjects there should be able to move. Could it be that a peak immortal emperor space-type test subject was left here? Chapter 686. Celestial Tharch told us that as long as we open this place, we can reach the end and obtain the treasure. But when we were halfway there, we were thrown into this passageway by a force. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King stood up and said in a low voice, "This place has changed. Then let's continue." Jiang Chongkong led the way. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King put away his broken golden pagoda and sighed softly. It would take a lot of materials to repair it. Sun Li and Northern Demon were familiar with him, and the three chatted. Pagoda-bearing, Celestial Arch is so unreliable. Why don't you follow us and join the Wandering Cultivator Alliance? Sun Li said. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King did not reply and said indifferently, "This matter is a bit strange. We should be careful. According to Celestial Thearka's information, there are many dangers here, such as some top immortal formations and Phoenix Divine Fire. We haven't encountered any Phoenix Divine Fire yet," Northern Demon said with lingering fear, "only that spatial power." The passageway became wider and wider, and there were also pieces of corpses on the road ahead. They were not Heavenly Court's immortals, but the creations here. Spatial power obviously won't bring corpses here. Either they came back to life and were killed by the spatial power here. Either that, or an expert killed them and threw their corpses here. Jiang Chongkong said solemnly. Sun Li and the others did not dare to collect the corpses. No one knew what the ancient immortals added when they created the creations. The immortal formation did not appear. Other than the spatial power, there was no other danger. They were extremely fast. After some time they came to another space. There was nothing in this space. There was not even a broken container or corpse fragment. This place, Moon God stepped on the golden stone slabs. Broken runes appeared on the ground. The immortal formation was destroyed. Jiang Chongkong frowned. Someone came here before us. Could it be the other three forces? Sun Li guessed. Celestial Arch got the news and so did the other three. They might have sent people here to get the treasure first. This should be the Phoenix Divine Fire. Northern Demon looked at the broken immortal formation and analyzed. Jiang Chongkong did not say much. This time, he led them to the end. The passageway no longer had any value, so he went to see if the divine weapon source was still there. Advancing at full speed, Jiang Chongkong stopped again half an hour later. The path ahead was cut off, forming an abyss blocking them. Formless spatial power interweaved above the abyss. Immortal Emperor Guangxian had just passed through the abyss. His body was glowing with a golden light. Clearly, he had a protective treasure on him. This is the power of space. Jiang Chongkong frowned. The power here was so strong that even peak-stage immortal emperors would find it hard to pass through. The others did not say anything. The moon goddess said coldly, "If you can't do it, then retreat. Someone has clearly been here. The divine artifact fragment should be gone. Let's take a look first." Jiang Chongkong muttered to himself for a moment. A strip of cloth appeared and instantly enlarged, turning into an ancient bridge that connected the rupture. A trace of astonishment flashed in the moon goddess's eyes. The Sun brothers were also slightly surprised, but they did not say anything. Primal chaos energy shot out, shattering the spatial energy. The ancient banner released a golden light. It suppressed the power of space, allowing them to pass through easily. Jiang Chongkong cast his gaze downwards. It was pitch black, and even he couldn't see anything. "What's wrong?" Moon Goddess asked. "Nothing, maybe I sensed wrongly." Jiang Chongkong shook his head. He passed through the path built by the Pangu banner, kept it, and continued forward. When he passed through, he felt that something was spying on him, but he retracted it very quickly. It was just that for a moment, he did not dare to be sure. After passing through the passageway, Jiang Chongkong arrived at the peak. The 13 immortal palaces appeared, but Guangxian Immortal Emperor was nowhere to be seen. The golden rock was not far away from them, but it did not come over. It just stared at them. There seems to be something wrong with this bird. Sun Li looked at the golden-winged rock. He could feel a faint tyrannical aura from it. Jiang Chongkong glanced at the golden rock. This bird actually took the initiative to distance itself from them. Could it be that this fellow knew that it was not his match? Moon Goddess said in a low voice, "Be careful. This golden rock is already dead." Jiang Changkong's expression changed. He stared at the bird, trying to see through it. However, this bird had some unknown method that prevented him from seeing through it. He sent a voice transmission. "Did you remember something, or did you see something? I have a feeling. Let's go to that palace first. I can feel the aura of the moon. Maybe it will let me remember more." Moon Goddess led the way to those palaces. Jiang Changkong and the others hurriedly followed. Sensing the moon, a cold immortal palace gradually appeared in front of them. A huge jade toad guarded the center of the palace. Moon Goddess touched the jade toad, and her divine power incarnation suddenly became stronger. A dusty memory surged into her mind. Jiang Changkong and the others waited patiently at the side. Buzz! A piece of cloth suddenly flew out and entered Jiang Changkong's body, fusing with his cloth. Rumble! The cold immortal palace shook and began to crack. A powerful violent aura rose from the bottom of the palace. Roar! The roar resounded and shock waves surged. The entire divine mountain was shaking. Jiang Changkong and the others hurriedly retreated. "Everyone, be careful. There are chaos beasts suppressed here." Moon Goddess's expression was solemn. Her dusty memories told her how dangerous this place was. There was another existence that came here. I don't know who it was exactly. She changed my memories. Everyone's expressions changed at the same time. Changed Moon Goddess's memories? Could it be an ancient celestial lord? Are those palaces also suppressing chaos beasts? Sun Li looked at the other palaces. There were a total of 13 palaces. Didn't that mean there were 13 chaos beasts? Roar! Rumble! The other palaces also began to collapse. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's figure appeared. He flew out of one of the palaces. All 13 palaces collapsed. Roars came from 7 of them. The power of chaos was like divine pillars that shot into the sky of the divine mountain, wanting to come into contact with the chaos. Buzz! A golden barrier flashed and blocked the chaos divine pillars. "Stand back." Jiang Changkong's expression was solemn. He struck a chaos beast that had yet to crawl out. Roar! With a deafening roar, the chaos beast suddenly disappeared. When it reappeared, it was already in front of Jiang Changkong. Space! This chaos beast had traversed space. Jiang Changkong's eyes narrowed. His divine power turned into a divine saber and landed on the chaos beast. Boom! The chaos divine power tore the beast apart. Its blood splattered. The power of space, just now, might have been released by them. Sun Li and the others guessed. 6 huge chaos beasts also crawled out of the other 6 palaces. Their every move carried the power of space laws and chaos. Chaos beasts born from the space Tao. Jiang Changkong frowned. Their strength is at most a late-stage immortal emperor. The one just now was a peak immortal emperor. The power of space just now was enough to threaten a peak immortal emperor. It was impossible for them to have released it. Power of heaven, 1 million. Jiang Changkong? There are such benefits? Chapter 687. Jiang Changkong did not expect to get heaven power as a reward for killing a primal chaos beast. 1 million. Although it had shrunk by 10 times, it was still 100,000 essence energy. An immortal emperor primal chaos beast actually had so many rewards. Was he wrong? He should have brought Blood River to the heaven realm to be killed. Heavenly Tao could not control the primal chaos, which meant that this place was still within heaven realm. He could consider this. Now, he had to deal with these primal chaos beasts. Roar! The space beasts roared, but this time they did not charge up. Instead, they burrowed into the void and disappeared. You want to run? Jiang Changkong snorted coldly. He no longer held back his peak immortal emperor aura. Khanate god patterns shone in the void, and the primal chaos laws forcefully suppressed the entire peak. Many space beasts were pushed out by the primal chaos laws and rolled out of the void. Let's bury them all. Jiang Chongkong raised his palm. Chaos divine power surged like a river and enveloped the 6 primal chaos beasts. Roar! His primal chaos divine power surged, and his hideous and malevolent face and fangs gleaming with a cold light pounced towards Jiang Chongkong. Rumble! God power drowned them. The 6 primal chaos beasts were crushed and howled in fear. They could not even block one move from Jiang Chongkong, who was a peak immortal emperor. 6 primal chaos beasts died in one move. Jiang Chongkong obtained another 6 million heaven power and 600,000 essence energy. Jiang Chongkong kept the beasts' corpses and threw one to them. Split them among yourselves. He kept the remaining 6 for himself. Primal chaos beasts and late-stage immortal emperors. These were treasures. He would leave them for his friends in the future. Thank you, Immortal Emperor Justice. Sun Li and the others hurriedly said. He was definitely an immortal emperor, and a powerful one at that. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King also got a portion and was extremely grateful. Moon Goddess said calmly, I will take one. Jiang Chongkong had given her one, and the Moon God had helped her before. Not to mention one, she could give her all of them. At the peak of the God Mountain, the palace was destroyed. Where is Immortal Emperor Guangxian? Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King started searching for Immortal Emperor Guangxian. Jiang Chongkong should not have affected him just now. This emperor is here. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's voice sounded. He stood on the back of the golden rock with his hands behind his back, looking majestic. Jiang Chongkong's eyes narrowed. How did you end up with him? I was in a bit of a hurry just now. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's eyes flickered, not daring to look him in the eye. He had seen the situation just now. This fella killed 7 late-stage Immortal Emperor Chaos Beasts with a single slap. He was only an early-stage Immortal Emperor. He wasn't a match at all. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King quickly said, Immortal Emperor Guangxian, come quickly, there's something wrong with that golden rock. Immortal Emperor Guangxian looked at the golden-winged rock beneath his feet and hurriedly flew out. He kept a golden feather behind his back and hid it. Jiang Chongkong frowned. You took the origin of the divine artifact? The decree of the celestial Dharch. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's expression darkened. Could it be that you want to snatch the celestial Thearka's things? Celestial Emperor's possession? So what? Jiang Chongkong's expression was cold. He and the heavenly court were enemies to begin with. The celestial Dharch wanted many things. If he wanted it, he would give it to him? If he wanted to capture him, did he have to deliver himself to him? Immortal Emperor Guangxian's gaze turned cold and his immortal power fluctuated intensely. But in the next moment, a terrifying godly aura pressed down on him. All right, let him bring it back and report to the celestial Dharch, Moon Goddess said. It's fine as long as it's enough. Jiang Chongkong frowned, but when he saw Moon Goddess's calm expression, he thought about what happened before and endured it. The godly aura retracted and said indifferently, Then I'll let him off this time. The matter here is over, it's time to go back. He had already obtained the fragment of Pengu Banner. The rest of the divine artifact fragments were useless to him even if he wanted them. Immortal Emperor Guangxian heaved a sigh of relief, and the fluctuating immortal power also stopped. Let's go. Jiang Chongkong waved his hand and brought them away, flying down from the God Mountain. As for Immortal Emperor Guangxian, he couldn't be bothered with him. Immortal Emperor Guangxian stood on the top of the mountain and smiled as he watched them leave. Jiang Chongkong flew down from the sky and frowned. Moon Goddess, you're letting him off just like that? Those divine artifact fragments are useless to you and will cause big trouble, Moon Goddess said indifferently. Big trouble? Sun Li and Sun Qing's expressions changed. They had the divine artifact fragment. If there was a big trouble, they might not be able to handle it. How did such a good thing become a hot potato? The information I received is not complete. You already have one, Moon Goddess sighed, plus, that immortal Emperor Guangxian might die here. The golden rock is gone. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King looked at the sky with a solemn expression. The golden rock had already disappeared, but immortal Emperor Guangxian was still on the top of the mountain. Buzz! The immortal formation flashed and shone, wanting to bring them into the God Mountain. Rumble! Screech! The entire God Mountain shook and a shrill cry resounded within the God Mountain. Chaotic divine light rushed out and broke the immortal formation. All the runes cracked and some palace fragments and corpses flew out of the God Mountain. Let's go, Moon Goddess urged. Moonlight shone down and the immortal formation was broken. Everyone rushed out of the immortal formation. That is. Jiang Chongkong turned around to take a look, and his expression was one of horror. The entire God Mountain turned into an arm, and the foot of the mountain was the palm. Endless chaotic energy was emitted from the arm. The golden light collapsed and the golden barrier collapsed. Endless chaotic energy surged and flooded the place. Immortal Emperor Guangxian roared and retracted his left arm. His body enlarged and he pressed the God Mountain's arm on his body. Is this guy crazy? Jiang Chongkong was shocked. He actually wanted to put the arm on his body. Endless chaotic energy engulfed immortal Emperor Guangxian, and endless violent aura was emitted from the arm. A golden feather appeared on immortal Emperor Guangxian's head and golden divine light shone down. What did Heaven Emperor tell him? The moon god's clear and cold eyes also carried a trace of astonishment. He will only be assimilated by the primal chaos. Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King was confused. Heaven Emperor didn't tell me this. Is he trying to obtain the power of the Chaos Beast? Space Beast? Has the Heavenly Emperor gone mad, or has he gone mad? Jiang Chongkong frowned as he led them back to the entrance. Jiang Chongkong, follow me back to the sky. I will make you wish you were dead. Vast chaotic energy surged in his body. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's aura rose rapidly and broke through the middle stage, late stage and peak stage of Immortal Emperor. Who does this arm belong to? Jiang Chongkong's expression was solemn. A single arm actually came from a peak stage Immortal Emperor. Moreover, the divine might of this arm was probably above his. The power of space came from the arm, and the feeling of being probed was also from the arm. It was definitely an Immortal Lord. An Immortal Lord level Chaos Beast. The passage we are going through is the tendons of the arm. Moon Goddess said, this is a Chaos Beast killed by the Golden Rock. It is suppressed here for research. Leave quickly. This immortal Emperor Guangxian will not let you go, Pagoda-bearing Heavenly King said. Pagoda-bearing, you are betraying the Heavenly Court and Heaven Emperor. Immortal Emperor Guangxian roared with killing intent. Today, I will kill you and clean up the scum of the Heavenly Court. Jiang Chongkong opened the Heavenly Book. Mutated Immortal Emperor Guangxian, death penalty, reward, 1,000,000 heavens power. There was no such information before. Now, after merging with the Chaos Arm, death penalty? The Heavenly Tao disliked Chaos Beast so much? Chapter 688. You guys leave first. Jiang Chongkong waved his hand. Since the Heavenly Tao had issued a mission, he had no choice but to accept it as the Heavenly God of Justice. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's power gradually stabilized. He was slightly stronger than him, but there was a limit to how much stronger he was. The arm of an immortal reverend was indeed powerful, but after countless years, being able to create a peak immortal emperor was already its limit. The moon goddess frowned slightly and waved her hand to lead them away. Be careful. Previously, the strength that Jiang Chongkong had displayed was already at the pinnacle of the immortal emperor realm. Even if he couldn't defeat Jiang Chongkong, he would definitely be able to escape. Jiang Chongkong, you really have guts. As he spoke coldly, Immortal Emperor Guangxian's divine body shrunk back to its normal size. His left arm had already turned into a beast claw that was as sharp as a top-tier grade 7 immortal weapon. Chaotic beasts had terrifying bodies, even more so than the demon race. Seems like it was this emperor's mistake not killing you just now, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. Immortal Emperor Guangxian sneered. Do you really think you can kill me? Since the celestial emperor sent this emperor here, how could he not have any tricks up his sleeves? As soon as he finished speaking, the beast claw tore through the void. Immortal Emperor Guangxian stepped through layers of space. He used the law of space as he wished. He had perfect control over the arm of the primordial chaos beast, as though it was his own. Jiang Chongkong quickly retreated, but Immortal Emperor Guangxian was faster. The law of space allowed one to directly traverse space. This was not something that the evil demon at the Golden Water River could compare to. His right hand clenched into a fist. Green light exploded as he punched. With a loud bang, the primal chaos energy in the surroundings turned into turbulent currents. The destructive power could easily destroy an immortal emperor. Jiang Chongkong retreated 1,000 miles and tore through the primal chaos. He exclaimed, "Primal chaos beasts are really strong. It's not strength, it's terror, the terror of killing you." Immortal Emperor Guangxian roared, "Jiang Chongkong, you should have died long ago for betraying the heavenly court." It was you who chased me first, wasn't it?" Jiang Chongkong sneered. His divine power turned into layers of barriers that protected him. Boom! Immortal Emperor Guangxian's figure dissipated as he shuttled through the chaos, completely unaffected. He came and went like a shadow, like a darling of the chaos, moving freely in the chaos. Relying on his sense of danger, Jiang Chongkong's fists and palms kept landing, colliding with the beast's arms. Back then, the heavenly court worked hard to nurture you into an immortal, but you didn't know how to repay and didn't know how to obey. Immortal Emperor Guangxian roared furiously. His sharp claws were like supreme immortal artifacts, and the space was like a blade. I governed the East Sea and formed an immortal position. The celestial arch received even greater rewards. Jiang Chongkong's palm landed. Pain came from his palm, and gray blood flowed out. In such a short time, you reached the peak of the immortal emperor realm. If I don't kill you, I won't be able to rest easy. Immortal Emperor Guangxian was shocked and furious. He had merged with the chaotic ferocious beast's arm and reached the peak of immortal emperor stage. He also had spatial divine power, but he couldn't take down Jiang Chongkong in a short period of time. Boom! The primal chaos surged, and everyone was forced to retreat. Jiang Chongkong let out a roar as a suppressive force burst out, tearing the primal chaos apart and shaking everything within 10,000 li. A strip of cloth, the ancient divine banner phantom condensed, a terrifying divine might suppressing the primal chaos. Sacred artifact fragment? Immortal Emperor Guangxian's eyes focused, and he quickly retreated. However, under the suppressive force, his spatial laws couldn't travel through the void, nor could he merge with the primal chaos. Chaotic golden body. Jiang Chongkong's strength skyrocketed again, and the immortal emperor's divine might increased. Azure light flashed, tearing the primal chaos apart, and the surrounding chaotic aura fused into his body, increasing his divine power. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's expression changed, and he said in shock, "You're also a chaotic ferocious beast?" "Ferocious beast my ass." Jiang Chongkong almost laughed. He had the connate chaotic Tao body, and he cultivated the 7 revolution mystic art. If his mystic art improved, he would only need one finger to defeat a defective being like him. Boom! The azure fist clashed with the beast claw. Blood splattered, and immortal Emperor Guangxian was sent flying. The beast claw dimmed a little. With the chaotic golden body activated, his strength had already surpassed immortal Emperor Guangxian's. The divine banner phantom shook, and the suppressive force increased. An invisible force sealed the surroundings. Immortal Emperor Guangxian roared, and his beast claw kept activating divine power, but he couldn't block the divine might and kept flying. Jiang Chongkong held the divine banner phantom with his left hand and shook it. The primal chaos was collapsing, and celestial blood was splattering. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's body cracked, and he couldn't resist the power of the divine artifact. Damn it! Immortal Emperor Guangxian roared, and the golden feather appeared again, directly piercing into the beast claw. Roar! The ferocious beast roared, and the primal chaos within 10,000 miles shook. The tyrannical aura rose, and a ferocious beast phantom appeared, pouncing towards the divine banner. Boom! The divine banner phantom shook, and the suppressive force around it started to dissipate. The ferocious beast phantom roared, stopping on top of Immortal Emperor Guangxian's head, looking down at him. Immortal Emperor Guangxian's eyes were cold, and his eyes were bloodshot. He didn't want to activate the ferocious beast's will in the beast claw, as it would affect his mind, and he might even be assimilated by the ferocious beast. However, in order to take down Jiang Chongkong, he had to do so. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to escape under the suppression of the divine banner. The ferocious beast phantom roared, and the beast claw carried Immortal Emperor Guangxian, tearing apart the suppressive force and clawing at Jiang Chongkong. Boom! Suddenly, an intense pain came. The beast claw cracked, and the ferocious beast phantom distorted, almost collapsing. Reincarnation disc? Immortal Emperor Guangxian had the urge to curse. Forget about the fragment of the Panga banner, what was with the complete reincarnation disc? Jiang Chongkong injected his divine power into the Panga banner to suppress the primal chaos, and he smashed down with the reincarnation disc. Boom! The primal chaos was destroyed, and the earth, water, fire, and wind appeared. More and more cracks appeared on Immortal Emperor Guangxian's beast claw, and the ferocious beast phantom was also weakening. This is so King unfair. This is too much. Immortal Emperor Guangxian roared in his heart. Why was the complete sage artifact in Jiang Chongkong's hands? Wasn't the underworld ruled by the demon emperor? The sage artifact was given to Jiang Chongkong? This demon emperor must be retarded. Boom boom. The reincarnation disc kept smashing down, and the beast claw finally couldn't hold on any longer, and it exploded. Without the beast claw, Immortal Emperor Guangxian's strength dropped rapidly, and in the blink of an eye, he was only left with the strength of an early-stage Immortal Emperor. The reincarnation disc suppressed down, and Immortal Emperor Guangxian was about to kill him, but a terrifying power sent the reincarnation disc flying. Jiang Chongkong retreated, and a trace of shock flashed in his eyes. The terrifying power brought Immortal Emperor Guangxian away, along with the golden feather and the divine artifact's source. The power of heaven was released, and 1,000,000 was transferred. Celestial Sovereign. Jiang Chongkong's expression changed. No wonder Immortal Emperor Guangxian said that he couldn't kill him. However, Immortal Emperor Guangxian didn't die, and the heavenly Tao gave him the power of heaven. Was it because of the mutation of the arm? As long as he removed the mutation and destroyed the beast claw, he would complete the heavenly Tao's mission? Also, why did the heavenly Tharch let Immortal Emperor Guangxian fuse with the beast claw? That feather was the key. Without that golden feather, Immortal Emperor Guangxian definitely wouldn't be able to fuse with the beast claw. The heavenly Tharch found the research of the ancient dragon race in the East Ocean. Jiang Chongkong thought about this. The heavenly Tharch probably knew a lot about this research, so he wanted to use this research to increase the strength of his subordinates. Putting away the reincarnation disc and the strip of cloth, Jiang Chongkong left the chaos and returned to the ruins. The research of immortal emperors and celestial sovereigns was even more dangerous. The ancient immortals were ruthless enough to kill the celestial sovereign's chaos beast for research. He hoped that they didn't kill the sage-level beast, otherwise, if it crawled out, it would definitely be able to sweep the celestial world. Chapter 689. The moon god and the pagoda-bearing heavenly king had already left, but Sun Li and the other two were still waiting. When they saw Jiang Changkong, the three of them hurried forward and heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that he was fine. "Let's go." Jiang Changkong brought them back. This time, they had collected the Chaos Beast's flesh and blood. They had earned quite a lot. Although he did not obtain anything good, he was able to obtain 800,000 essence, chi, and spirit. In addition to the previous 600,000, it had already reached 1.4 million. As long as he could find an immortal Emperor primordial beast, he should be able to advance to the advanced immortal Emperor stage very quickly. At that time, he would be invincible among immortal emperors. Even if it was Sun Wuxuan, he could still press the hammer. Sun Li and the other two followed beside him. Northern Devil asked carefully, "Immortal Emperor Justice is already a peak stage immortal emperor?" Jiang Changkong replied calmly. Sun Li and the other man were speechless. They had only been separated from Jiang Changkong for a short period of time, and they were already at the peak of the immortal emperor realm? "Aren't you improving a little too fast? Do you not need time to break through from the initial stage to the middle stage to the late stage?" The two of them had mixed feelings. They couldn't even look up to such a speed of improvement. They could only despair. Jiang Changkong had completely grown up. In addition, he had the wheel of reincarnation and the judicial immortal position. The current heavenly court might not dare to kill him. When he returned to the heaven realm, there were already quite a few creatures that entered the heaven realm. They were all from the immortal realm. All the major forces had also brought their own people over. On the golden divine planet, Jiang Changkong and the other two went to look for the immortal emperor. That intermediate stage immortal emperor still wanted to choose some items. He wanted half of the rewards this time. When the four of them entered the hall, a strange expression flashed across the intermediate stage immortal emperor's face. "Lord Immortal Emperor, this is our harvest this time." Jiang Changkong took out a few immortal artifacts, all of which were superior grade 6. Sun Li and the other two also took out their grade 6 celestial artifact. Their expressions were calm, but their hearts were filled with trepidation. The intermediate stage immortal emperor looked at the immortal artifact with rage in his eyes. "Do the four of you not want to stay in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance anymore? What does the celestial emperor mean?" Jiang Changkong was puzzled, but there was no trace of panic on his face. "Divine Artifact Fragment, Chaotic Beast," the immortal emperor said calmly. Jiang Changkong said calmly, "Then you have to go to the Celestial Court." This time, the Celestial Emperor of the Celestial Court went and took everything away. "Bullshit!" The mid-stage immortal emperor was enraged. "Don't think that I don't know that you have obtained the flesh of the primal chaos beast. Although I didn't go to the ruins, I have my own sources. Putting aside the divine artifact's origin, hand over the chaos beast's corpse. Does the immortal emperor think that we can deal with the chaotic beasts?" Jiang Changkong frowned. Sun Li and the other two stood beside him without saying a word. Jiang Changkong alone was enough. He was at the peak of the immortal emperor realm, and he would definitely be able to become one of the higher-ups in the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. As for kicking him out of the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance, Jiang Changkong didn't care at all. As for them, all they wanted now was to follow Jiang Changkong. There were benefits to being with Jiang Changkong. As long as there were gains, they would get a share. Finally, the mid-stage immortal monarch's patience ran out, the innate godly patterns filled the air, and the innate aura was awakened. "Immortal Emperor, are you planning to attack?" Jiang Changkong asked calmly. The immortal emperor's gaze was sharp and cold. "Since you want to die, I will grant you your wish. I will let you understand that no matter how strong an immortal king is, an immortal emperor won't be able to resist the might of an immortal emperor." "Immortal Emperor!" Jiang Changkong sneered as a towering divine aura surged out. The innate godly patterns shone and directly shattered the immortal emperor's godly patterns. The godly aura was boundless and boundless. Primal chaos laws rose from the boundless chaos like the sun of heaven and earth, the only light in the world, as they filled the entire god planet. Hong Long Long. The celestial formations were activated and trembled continuously. Jiang Changkong's godly aura rose to the extreme, and only the primal chaos golden body and saint artifact were left. At that moment, the golden god planet shook, and some celestial formations couldn't take it anymore and started to collapse. The celestial palaces and halls were collapsing. The immortals of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance were all terrified. It was like a calamity had arrived. The space started to crack, and a terrifying power caused one's heart to tremble. Peak Immortal Emperor. The mid-stage Immortal Emperor's body went soft as he looked at the person in front of him in fear. Wasn't he just at the peak of the Immortal King realm and infinitely close to the Immortal Emperor realm? Even if this person was comparable to an early-stage Immortal Emperor, he wouldn't be afraid. After all, he was in the mid-stage. But this was a peak Immortal Emperor. Your godly aura is pitifully weak, Jiang Changkong said calmly as he pointed at the mid-stage Immortal Emperor's forehead. Stop. Shock and anger could be heard as a strong Xiantian immortal aura tore through space. 3 figures descended at the same time, but they couldn't stop it in time. Jiang Changkong's finger landed. Bang! Like a watermelon being split open, the soul dissipated. An immortal emperor died just like that. Jiang Changkong looked at the 3 immortal emperors expressionlessly. What is the meaning of this? 3 immortal emperors, 2 at the peak and 1 at the peak. The strongest combat power of the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. The 3 immortal emperors were stunned. We should be the ones asking you that. You killed an immortal emperor for no reason and now you are asking us what is the meaning of this? Jiang Changkong, the Rogue Cultivator Alliance was formed to unite our strength and survive the battle between the 4 factions. You killed a mid-stage immortal emperor. This is a huge blow to our combat power. The peak immortal emperor in the lead had a gloomy expression. Rogue Cultivator Alliance's alliance leader, Lin Qianshan. 2 deputy alliance leaders, Gu Hanshan and Pei Yuanheng. The 2 peak immortal emperors looked at him coldly. As long as Lin Qianshan said the word, they would attack. Sun Li and the other 2 were shocked. They had obviously heard of their names before. Jiang Changkong said calmly, "One more deputy alliance leader, Jiang Changkong." The 3 frowned. Lin Qianshan's gaze was cold. When you reach the peak immortal emperor, are you going to change the alliance leader? Then you have to work hard to become an immortal reverent first, Jiang Changkong said calmly. Sun Li and the other 2's eyes twitched. Can't you just give in? This is the peak immortal emperor and there are 2 peak immortal emperors. If the 3 of them join forces, can you beat them? Can you run? Jiang Changkong wasn't afraid at all. If he couldn't beat them, he could run. The atmosphere froze and the battle was about to start. Sun Li could already feel the anger of the 3 alliance leaders. Lin Qianshan's gloomy face suddenly had a smile. All right, we will have 1 more deputy alliance leader. Jiang Changkong smiled. Alliance leader's choice is correct. My strength far surpasses the intermediate immortal emperor. Alliance leader Jiang, you should kill less. You can't kill the innocent, Lin Qianshan said calmly. Thank you for your reminder, Jiang Changkong said calmly. The 3 of you can leave. Lin Qianshan glanced at the 3 of them and said, Alliance leader Jiang, let's go together. I will tell you about the ruins. Jiang Changkong left with the 2 of them and came to a hall. Lin Qianshan took out a jade pendant and passed it to Jiang Changkong. It contained information about the ruins. There were hundreds of ruins in total. How do you know about these ruins? Jiang Changkong asked. The Heavenly Tao told me. Lin Qianshan smiled. The other 4 factions know about this too. Jiang Changkong. The Heavenly Tao didn't tell me. Could it be that you have a Heavenly Tao fragment too? Jiang Changkong was shocked. The Heavenly Tao was split into 9 parts and only 6 appeared. Where did these people come from? Without the heavenly Tao fragment, how could the heavenly Tao tell them? Chapter 690. Lin Qianshan shook his head. There is no heavenly Tao fragment, just a notice from the heavenly Tao. Jiang Chongkong didn't believe that the heavenly Tao would notify him for no reason. About the ruins? Or did the heavenly Tao think that Lin Qianshan was qualified to fight for the celestial emperor position? Then he might as well count on himself. In the future, Immortal Emperor Jiang will be in charge of informing them about the ruins. Immortal Emperor Jiang can take half of the treasures. I will only take one item. Lin Qianshan said. Jiang Chongkong asked, which item? How did the previous Immortal Emperor know that I have the chaotic beast flesh? As for the item, it depends on what's in the ruins. As for how he found out about you, Lin Qianshan smiled and shook his head. This is the foundation of my life. I can't tell you. Jiang Chongkong didn't ask more. He changed the topic. The itinerant cultivator alliance is just hiding in the divine planet? Fighting for the ruins? If Immortal Emperor Jiang wants to go out for a walk, you can too, Lin Qianshan said. Jiang Chongkong frowned slightly. He asked a few more questions, but they were all inconvenient to say. How to protect himself from the four factions? He wasn't willing to say either. Since he couldn't get anything out of him, Jiang Chongkong could only leave. He returned to the palace, which became the Immortal Emperor Hall of Justice. Sun Li and the other two were at the entrance. Seeing him return, they walked in together. In the future, Immortal Emperor Jiang will be the Vice Alliance leader? Sun Li asked carefully. Sun Qing and Northern Devil were also looking forward to it. After all, they had some friendship with Jiang Chongkong. They weren't familiar with the other immortal emperors at all. Jiang Chongkong poured 3 cups of tea for them. No need to be so restrained. Just do as you please. In the future, I will indeed be the Vice Alliance leader. Come find me if you need anything. Which ruins are we going to next? Northern Demon asked. Jiang Chongkong frowned. Digest what you gained this time. You are still too weak. It's best if you become immortal emperors as soon as possible. Sun Li sighed. I want to become immortal emperor too, but not only am I not close to it, but my foundation isn't enough either. It was simply too difficult to transform. Jiang Chongkong did not feel anything. His foundation was the strongest, so there was no difficulty at all. He completed the transformation directly. Immortal Emperor Realm? What a pity, the Holy Land is still in the immortal world. Otherwise, you guys could go to the Holy Land to comprehend for a period of time. Jiang Chongkong pondered whether he should return to the Holy Land to take a look and improve the strength of his incarnation. As he improved, his comprehension of the Holy Land would definitely increase to the Immortal Emperor stage. The people from the Divine Court must have taken advantage of him. Jiang Chongkong told them to go back to their rooms to cultivate, but he was in no hurry to leave. On the other hand, the demonic emperor was quite busy. Although the underworld was under his control, the territory was too small. Moreover, there were some ghost race immortal emperors who were unwilling to be ruled and left the underworld on their own. For example, the heavenly ghosts and zombies had all left. The demon emperor did not stop them, even though both factions had peak immortal emperors. He didn't care about the peak of the immortal emperor realm. The heaven realm had been reorganized and he had become an immortal emperor. Flower Fruit Mountain had sent a few more immortal emperors over and one of them was a peak immortal emperor. Right now, the demon emperor had to bring out the powerful evil ghosts of the underworld and let them live in the heavenly realm. He left this matter to Sun Yuan. As for the ghosts and zombies who had left, he would let them go and kick them out of the underworld. After making these arrangements, the demon emperor summoned Sun Wuxuan. Demon Emperor, what are your orders? Sun Wuxuan hugged a jar of fine wine and sat to the side without a care for his image. What has our demon master Kuan Yu done recently? Asked the demon emperor. That silly bird Kuan Yu has been acting mysteriously. He ran out with Feng Jiu. Sun Wuxuan waved his claws and chuckled. The Demon Emperor is the best. That Feng Jiu told him everything directly. So he went to become an immortal emperor. Become an immortal emperor? The Demon Emperor sighed. The Demon Emperor really trusts him. After several failures, he still wants him to become an immortal emperor. That silly bird is still trash even if he becomes an immortal emperor, said Sun Wuxuan disdainfully. This time, the immortal emperor gave him news of a ruin that can allow one to become a connate being. Ruin? The Demon Emperor muttered. Sun Wuxuan was a little angry and said in a low voice, Demon Emperor, Old Ape heard some rumors that the Demon Emperor has many ruins in his hands. Some ruins are even helpful for peak immortal emperors. Immortal Emperor Wuxuan is moved? The Demon Emperor muttered. Then this emperor will go and beg the Demon Emperor. Demon Emperor, Old Ape is not as bad as you think. Why can't you understand Old Ape's meaning? Sun Wuxuan scratched his ears and cheeks. He put the fine wine to the side and was a little angry. That Demon Emperor doesn't treat the Demon Emperor as his second brother at all. The Demon Emperor's expression was indifferent and he was silent. Demon Emperor, the Demon Emperor has a lot of ruins in his hands, but he doesn't give any to the Demon Emperor. He clearly doesn't treat the Demon Emperor as a true brother. Sun Wuxuan said angrily. He couldn't stand this. But he was just a member of the Flower Fruit Mountain Demon race, not the Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor stood up and smiled. Immortal Emperor Wuxuan, don't be anxious. This emperor doesn't need these ruins. This emperor is thinking of another problem. What problem? Sun Wuxuan was startled. Chaos Divine Stones. The Demon Emperor said solemnly, some Chaos Divine Stones are hidden in the ruins. But there might be chaos beasts inside. The Demon Emperor wants to find the ruins yourself and hunt chaos beasts? Sun Wuxuan narrowed his eyes. Yes. The Demon Emperor nodded and said, since the Demon Emperor doesn't want to give it to us, we will obtain it ourselves. Old Ape will go find the Chaos Divine Stones now. Rely on yourself. Sun Wuxuan stood up. The Demon Emperor ordered the other God Kings to search as well. Firstly, to obtain information about the ruins. Secondly, to improve his divine body. Seeing that they were busy, the Demon Emperor stood up and left the heaven realm through the heavenly passage. He crossed the North Sea and arrived at the land ruled by the divine court. He wanted to see the current Holy Land. When he arrived at the land ruled by the divine court, the power of heaven was so dense that the Demon Emperor was slightly shocked. The power of heaven had already enveloped this place? This was much faster than the progress in the heavenly court. With a flash of light, two figures appeared at the same time. It was Ji Chang'an and a peak god emperor. Demon Emperor, why have you come to the divine court? The peak god emperor cupped his hands. Ji Chang'an narrowed his eyes. He had been captured alive by the Demon Emperor before. Now that the Demon Emperor appeared alone, would he be able to sell him for a good price? The Demon Emperor said calmly, Heavenly God of Justice Jiang Changkong asked me to come and see the Holy Land. Ji Chang'an said, the Holy Land is fine. There is no need for the Demon Emperor to worry. The Holy Land belongs to the divine court now? The Demon Emperor sneered. Heavenly God of Justice agreed? The peak god emperor raised his hand slightly. Since the Demon Emperor asked me to come, I will accompany you. Thank you. The Demon Emperor stepped forward and came to the Holy Land with the peak god emperor. His incarnation was in the Holy Land, but it wasn't strong, far from the immortal emperor level. Everything was fine. The Tao Enlightenment Hall had also reached the immortal emperor level. There were many resources inside. The divine court sent many immortals over to study, but they weren't very strong. The immortal stones they left behind were useless to him now. Demon Emperor, why have you come? Chapter 691. The peak god emperor of God Court didn't believe that Monster Emperor was only here to take a look. And he came alone. Wasn't he afraid that God Court would take him down? The monster sovereign sighed softly. There is indeed another reason why I am here. You could say that I am here to deliver some information to the celestial court. What kind of information? Monster court? The peak god emperor was interested. Heavenly court, Monster Emperor said. Jiang Chongkong sent a message to me. He went to a ruin. He told them about immortal Emperor Guangxian merging with a primal chaos beast. A peak god emperor was indeed shocked, sinking into deep thought. It was unknown what he was thinking about. Monster Emperor wants to work with God Court to deal with Heavenly Court? The peak god emperor thought for a moment before introducing himself. I am Chu Hong from God Court. Forget about Heavenly Court. I don't have that ability. I just want to work with God Court and send a message in the future. Monster Emperor said, for example, this time's news. God Court's news is faster and more accurate than Monster Emperor's. Chu Hong smiled. For example, Monster Emperor and Monster Monarch, who are brothers on the surface, are still not as good as Monster Master. They are indeed not as good as God Court now, but that might not be the case in the future. Monster Emperor frowned. For example, if Heavenly Court gets a divine artifact shard, we can inform each other about immortal spirits. Immortal spirit. Chu Hong's expression changed. We can inform each other about this. As for the rest, Monster Emperor can pay for it. Sure. Monster Emperor agreed. Also, I need some Chaos Divine Stones. Does God Court have them? I'm afraid Monster Emperor can't afford it, Chu Hong said arrogantly. Monster Emperor said, Monster Race Monster Master, is that enough? Chu Hong, who are you here to betray? First, you betray Heavenly Court's news, then you betray Monster Master. You already said that we are brothers on the surface. Monster Emperor said, I also need to plan for myself, right? I can tell you some news about the monster race. Where is Monster Master? Chu Hong asked. A ruin. I don't know the details. I only know that it can let people become immortal emperors. Monster Emperor believed that with this information, God Court would be able to find out what ruin it was. Chu Hong nodded. The demonic beast emperors, who were brothers on the surface, would definitely not tell the demonic beast monarch about the ruins. The news that they received was that the demon Arch was just going through the motions and didn't really treat the demon sovereign as one of their own. As for the demon master, they didn't notice anything at all. Alright, this information can be exchanged for a piece of Chaos Divine Stone, Chu Hong said. The demon emperor sneered. Adding up the historical remnant and the demon master, the gains are huge. Emperor God Chu Hong, we must show sincerity in our cooperation. Fine too, no more. Let's work together more in the future. Chu Hong told Ji Chang'an to go to the sky and fetch 2 primal Chaos Divine Stones. The Demon Emperor and Chu Hong were waiting in the Holy Land. The Holy Land had become much stronger. Ordinary immortal emperors would also be affected if they came here. One day, he would create an eternal paradise. It didn't take long for the demonic beast emperor to return with the 2 primal Chaos Divine Stones. Chu Hong also turned around and left. He was going to capture the Demon Court's Demon Master. Returning to the Heaven Realm's Demon Imperial Palace, the Demon Emperor sized up the 2 Chaos Divine Stones. One of them had that unique aura while the other didn't. It was a very weak aura. If one hadn't seen it before, they wouldn't have been able to tell. Who was it that hid the relic in the Chaos Divine Stone? The Spirit Demon Emperor frowned and fell into deep thought. Demon Emperor, something bad has happened. Sun Wuxing sprinted over and panted heavily. The immortals and gods of the heavenly courts are attacking. Have you informed the Demon Emperor? The Demon Emperor asked. I've already informed them. However, the immortal gods of the immortal court have also arrived. The Demon Emperor is dealing with the immortal court and has no time to deal with the immortal gods of the heavenly court. Sun Wuxing hurriedly said, the heavenly court has sent hundreds of thousands of soldiers, 2 peak stage immortal emperors, 1 extreme stage immortal emperor, Immortal Emperor Wu Xian has already gone. You dare to offend the demon court with just this bit of strength? The monster sovereign snorted coldly and ordered, "Gather all the monster immortals and follow me to kill the heavenly court's immortals and gods." Yes. Sun Wuxing hurriedly gathered the demon immortals. The demon emperor stepped out of the demon imperial hall and entered the divine bridge. The heaven-devouring python pulled the carriage and left. Roar. The sky-devouring python roared. The divine ape drove the chariot and rushed into the sky. There were countless auspicious clouds in the sky. The immortals of the demon race were fighting with the immortals of the heavenly courts. The demon race was clearly weaker because the monster sovereign had not taken in many demons and their combat power was not strong. The evil ghosts and asuras of the underworld had not arrived yet. The divine ape of Huagua Mountain, a few heaven-devouring pythons, Wang Shanhe and other immortal kings were fighting with all their might. The corpses of the demon race and heavenly courts immortals kept falling. There were heavy casualties. In the sky, two figures were fighting. Sun Wuxuan and that extreme stage immortal emperor. The extreme stage immortal emperor's immortal artifact was not as good as Sun Wuxuan's, but it was still a peak 7th grade immortal artifact and could last for a few minutes. The two peak immortal emperors were suppressing the peak immortal emperor of Huagua Mountain. The demon race was at a great disadvantage. The pagoda of the pagoda-bearing heavenly king had already been repaired. The divine pagoda spun in a circle and absorbed hundreds and thousands of demons. The monster sovereign is here. The defeated demons cried out in surprise, and their battle intent increased by a lot. Monster sovereign? A cold voice sounded. An immortal emperor flipped his hand, and a giant hand covered the chariot and divine palanquin. The divine palanquin opened, and the chaos golden crow rushed out, its claws tearing the giant hand apart. The golden crow took human form, wearing a golden crow robe, and its peak immortal emperor aura shook thousands of miles. The divine clock appeared, and its suppressive power was vast. The heavenly court's immortals fell like dumplings. Boom! A terrifying palm arrived. A peak immortal emperor gave up on the monkeys of Huagua Mountain and slammed his palm towards the divine clock. The monster sovereign's eyes narrowed. The divine clock trembled, and chaotic divine light shot out, tearing the void. A golden ring flew out and strengthened the palm. Divine power tore the void, and chaotic energy spread out. The ring flew back, and the peak immortal emperor's body trembled slightly. The monster sovereign's expression sank, and there was a trace of anger in it. Heavenly Court, are you planning to decide victory and defeat with the demon race? It's just demarcation. The peak immortal emperor sneered. Why, didn't the monster sovereign tell you? The heaven realm is reorganizing, so we naturally have to demarcate it. The monster sovereign really didn't say that this was his brother on the surface. The heaven realm was reorganizing, and the four factions all wanted to occupy more territory. They naturally had to divide their territories with strength. The first thing the heavenly court and immortal court thought of was the monster court, and they worked together to suppress the demon race's living space. Kill! The peak immortal emperor ordered. The ring activated its divine might and smashed towards the monster sovereign. Boom! Suddenly, the void was torn apart. A figure stepped out and punched the ring. The ring flew back. The peak immortal emperor's expression changed, and he shouted in shock and anger, "Jiang Changkong? If I don't disrupt the heavenly court's matters, I will be letting down the heavenly Tao." Jiang Changkong spoke coldly. Behind him, Sun Li and the other two went down to help the demon race. "Jiang Changkong, you are really courting death." The peak immortal emperor roared in anger, and the ring directly smashed over. "You are the one courting death." The monster sovereign laughed coldly. When he joined forces with his main body, he was equivalent to two peak immortal emperors. Boom! Their attacks landed, and cracks actually appeared on the ring. The peak immortal emperor was injured on the spot. Jiang Changkong stepped out and his fist smashed down again. The primal chaos laws pressed down. The primal chaos golden crow cried out, and the monster sovereign also displayed his primal chaos golden crow divine might. Chapter 692. Retreat, retreat! Angry roars resounded in the sky. The peak celestial emperor of heavenly court was defeated. That peak celestial emperor was also suppressed by Sun Wuxuan. The battle in the celestial world was still dominated by the strong. The power of one person could completely change fate. The demon emperor struck the divine bell. The bell rang and the heavenly court's immortals were all injured. The monster race army started to counterattack, chasing after the hundreds of thousands of immortals. The heavenly book didn't show anyone's crime, nor did it show that killing was a crime. The heavenly Tao allowed for the boundaries to be drawn. Kill. Since the heavenly court wants to draw a boundary, then let's do it. The demon emperor ordered and rushed toward the peak celestial emperor. Demonic energy covered the sky, beating the heavenly court into a sorry state. Sun Wuxuan carried his metal staff and came before Jiang Chongkong. The demon emperor didn't make a friend for nothing. You can be relied on at the crucial moment. Of course, count me in when dealing with the heavenly court. Jiang Chongkong smiled and tore open the void, chasing after him. Sun Wuxuan flipped and caught up to the peak celestial emperor. Rumble! The peak celestial emperor was heavily injured again. Jiang Chongkong had already activated the chaotic golden body. The blood of the celestial emperor fell. The connate power smashed many immortals to death. The chaotic golden crow divine fire burned everything, including the peak celestial emperor. The other peak celestial emperor was entangled by the peak celestial emperor of Huagua Mountain. The heavenly court celestial emperor had already lost the will to fight. They had already lost this battle, and could only retreat. However, Jiang Chongkong and the demon emperor didn't intend to let them go so easily. The sharp claws grabbed the peak celestial emperor and stabbed into his body. The fist landed and almost pierced through his body. Boom! A terrifying divine might swept out, suppressing the void, locking Jiang Chongkong and the demon sovereign in place. Celestial sovereign. The next moment, another terrifying divine power arrived. A divine ape image appeared and neutralized the divine power. Celestial sovereign of Huagua Mountain. The two celestial sovereigns fought secretly. Jiang Chongkong and the demon emperor fought again. The peak celestial emperor was defeated. The chaos bell image crushed down and tore apart his body. The sharp claws tore his flesh, the fists destroyed his life. The heavily injured peak immortal emperor looked like he was about to die. Enough! With an angry roar, a beam of divine light carried away the severely injured immortal emperor. 10,000 miles away, a golden barrier rose, separating the two sides. From today onwards, with this as a barrier, the demon court and the heavenly court will not interfere with each other. The divine voice resounded, and the immortals and gods of the heavenly court were also taken away by the divine light. Jiang Chongkong tore open the void and left, returning to the divine planet. The demon emperor also left with his men, leaving the battlefield for the demon race to clean up. It ended just like that? The demon emperor frowned. He felt that the heavenly court had ended too quickly. The immortal sovereigns exchanged blows just now. They were just testing each other. The first boundary has appeared, Sun Wuxuan explained. We'll probably have to fight a few more rounds before the boundary will be drawn. Why didn't the immortal sovereigns draw the boundary? Even if we win, we won't be able to determine the boundary in the end. The Archfiend Emperor asked doubtfully. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the Demon Larch about this. Sun Wuxuan didn't know much about the demarcation either. He took out 5 divine chaos stones and handed them over to the demonic monarch. The demon sovereign took a closer look. 2 of them contained the aura of the ruins, while the other 3 were ordinary primal divine stones. The demon emperor stood up and said, "Let's go to the ruins to find the chaos divine flame." Ruins? Sun Wuxuan was puzzled. The demon emperor explained, Jiang Changkong sent me a voice transmission that some ruins contain the Chaos Divine Flame. When did this Jiang Changkong know about the ruins? Sun Wuxuan asked curiously. The Demon Emperor sighed. The Itinerant Cultivator Alliance. Other than the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance, he also told Sun Wuxuan about the ruins that the Moon God had mentioned. Sun Wuxuan sneered. This demon Tharch wants to hide it from the Demon Emperor, but he doesn't know that Jiang Changkong already knows. The Itinerant Cultivator Alliance is also problematic. They don't have the Heavenly Tao fragment, but they know about the ruins, the Demon Emperor said indifferently. Although he guessed that the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance had something to do with immortal essences, he hadn't found any clues yet. The Heavenly Tao actually didn't like immortal essences, so his main body should have sensed it. However, the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance didn't sense it. None of them were immortal essences. He could only guess that it might be related to immortal essences. The three of them went to the Divine Planet and entered the ruins where the Chaos Divine Flame was. There was nothing special about the ruins. Only the Chaos Divine Flame had some value. In the gray Chaos Divine Ruin, there was a small mountain hidden in the aura of chaos. A gray flame burned on the top of the mountain. The Demon Emperor burned the Chaos Divine Stones and obtained information about the ruins. It was still that unique aura, and it was now recorded in immortal characters. Boom! The ruins suddenly shook, and celestial might shone. I'll go take a look. Sun Wuxuan rushed over. Jiang Changkong set up a divine power barrier and sealed it with the reincarnation disc. The Demon Emperor stayed here. After refining the 5 Chaos Divine Stones, although it wasn't enough for him to completely transform his Chaos Divine body, it could still strengthen him a little. At the entrance, celestial lights collided, and 3 figures fought Sun Wuxuan. Jiang Changkong flew over and said indifferently, "People from the Celestial Court?" The Heavenly Book appeared, and the 3 celestial emperors of the Celestial Court were all peak celestial emperors. So it's the Heavenly Justice God. I didn't expect you to really be with the monster race. A celestial emperor said coldly, first the Heavenly Court, then the Divine Court, and now the Monster Court. Are you going to join our Celestial Court next? I will go to the Celestial Court, but I definitely won't join them. Jiang Changkong's expression was cold, and his divine power tore through the void. I'll kill you first. That's it. What are you talking about? Kill me first. Sun Wuxuan bared his teeth and smashed the ocean divine pillar. The 2 peak celestial emperors tried their best to block it. The peak 7th grade celestial artifact shook, and the powerful celestial power caused them to vomit blood. Jiang Changkong directly activated the Chaos Golden Body and heavily injured his opponent. Go. The 3 celestial emperors' expressions changed. They stopped fighting and turned to leave. Where do you think you're going? Sun Wuxuan shouted coldly. The metal rod smashed down, and the void collapsed as it pressed toward the 3 celestial emperors. Jiang Changkong's vast chaos divine power poured into the ocean divine pillar, making the metal rod even stronger. Boom! The celestial emperor's blood splattered, and the 3 celestial emperors were sent flying. The blood dyed the chaos golden. The demon emperor's side was almost the same. He had become a peak celestial emperor, and he only used the chaos divine stones to improve his quality. The demon emperor felt that his divine body was almost the limit of an early-stage celestial emperor. Ordinary low-grade 7th-grade celestial artifacts would find it hard to break his defense. In his mind was the information he had just received. 2 of the 3 chaos divine stones were information about the ruins, and 1 was an incomplete celestial scripture. The ruins weren't far from the heaven realm, and there was also a teleportation array. After digesting the information, the battle between Sun Wuxuan and Sun Wuxuan came to an end. He didn't kill the 3 celestial emperors and let them escape. These fellows all had life-saving means. If they were early-stage celestial emperors, it wouldn't be much, but peak celestial emperors were treasures to the various factions. Jiang Chongkong wanted to rely on killing peak celestial emperors to obtain essence, energy, and spirit, but it probably wouldn't work in the celestial world. He still had to carry out his plan to get the primal chaos beasts to the heaven realm. It depended on whether there were any primal chaos beasts in the ruins. If there weren't, he would have to think of another way. Chapter 693. Sun Wuxuan was somewhat depressed and unhappy that the three immortal emperors had escaped. Jiang Chongkong and the demon sovereign were equally depressed, but there was nothing they could do as they had the backing of the celestial reverend. Now that they had gotten the information about the relic, they didn't stay any longer and left. There are 2 ruins, one for each of us, the demon emperor said calmly. Okay. Jiang Chongkong agreed. Only by acting separately could they maximize the benefit. If bringing the primal chaos beasts to the heaven realm was useful, then he would only need to deal with the primal chaos beasts in the future to improve quickly. Back at the Rogue Cultivator Alliance, Jiang Chongkong instructed Sun Li and the other 2 to pay attention to the news of the Chaos Divine Stone. He tore apart the heavenly realm and entered the primal chaos. Jiang Chongkong and the Demon Emperor went to the ruins together, but Sun Wuxuan didn't follow. Right now, the demarcation of the border had not been completely completed. A battle could break out at any time, and he, the strongest combat power, had to stay behind. As for the Demon Emperor, of course, it was more important. Sun Wuxuan agreed. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew that the Demon Emperor was already extremely powerful, he would have followed along to protect the Demon Emperor. On the other side, within the ruins, Feng Jiu was guarding the ruins. Beside her, there was another peak stage immortal emperor, Aoyin Yumia. Demon Masters had a very high status. Although they were a bit weak and inexperienced, they were still Demon Masters. The Demon Emperor personally ordered them to protect the Demon Master until he reached the immortal Emperor realm. Kuan Yu was soaking in a pool of primordial spirit liquid. This was a primordial spirit chi space. It was several times larger than the innate space he had found in the Golden Water River. The spiritual liquid pool could even accommodate one person sitting cross-legged. The spiritual liquid was extremely plentiful. Kuan Yu was already at the peak of the immortal king realm and was just a step away from becoming an immortal emperor. With the help of the demon Larch, he had already glimpsed the profoundness of the immortal emperor, and he only needed to complete the transformation. Apart from the Xiantian spiritual liquid here, there were also some materials given by the monster emperor, many of which were Xiantian spiritual herbs. If Kuan Yu still couldn't become an immortal emperor with this kind of support, then he would truly be trash. Actually, Kuan Yu was not a cripple. It was just that he had met the wrong person. In terms of strength, he could not find many opponents below the immortal emperor realm. It was just that he had encountered Jiang Chongkong, the postnatal minor Pangu, who was trash at the same level as him. Not to mention him, even ancient immortal venerables like the demon Larch would be beaten like dogs by Jiang Chongkong in the same realm. Boom! The innate aura dispersed into the surroundings and the innate divine patterns started evolving. Kuan Yu's transformation had begun. That's right, the innate divine inscription is already evolving. I wonder if it'll be completed in one go. A hint of fear flashed in Feng Jiu's eyes. His bloodline was definitely inferior to Kuan Yu's. It was just that he had become an immortal emperor first. If Kuan Yu completed his transformation, he probably wouldn't be Kuan Yu's match. A hint of joy flashed in Aoyin Yumia's eyes. Not every immortal emperor could directly manifest the innate divine runes. Being able to manifest innate divine runes meant that Kuan Yu's strength and potential were extremely high. Screech! The image of a Kuan Pung circled above Kuan Yu's head, letting out excited cries and releasing its connate aura. A dense demonic aura and the divine might of the Kuan Pung spread out. The Kuan Peng's bloodline is also recovering. The true number 1 speed will shock the entire heaven realm. Aoyin Yumia said excitedly. The monster race would have another great help. Boom! Suddenly, the ruins shook. The connate spirit chi became chaotic and terrifying divine might filled the entire space. Who is it? Aoin Yumie's expression was cold as he shouted and transformed into the Aoin true body. The sharp claws tore through the void. The peak immortal emperor might made the space tremble. Feng Jie lowered her head and pondered. Should she run first? Kuan Yu came here to transform and she told Sun Wuxuan that the monster race of Huagua Mountain had attacked? Boom. A monstrous divine might swept out and Aoin Yumie flew back. Two peak god emperors stepped into the ruins. Demon Master Kuan Yu? Chu Hong looked at Kuan Yu in the spirit liquid in surprise and then looked at the connate spirit liquid. Good stuff. It's enough for the divine court to have another god emperor. The demon emperor was too generous. Feng Jiu. Killing with a borrowed knife? Sun Wuxuan was still a loyal demon emperor? They didn't think that the divine court would suddenly find this place so coincidentally. How could two peak god emperors come at the same time coincidentally? Roar. Aoin Yumie roared and charged over. He wanted to protect the demon master to complete his transformation. You dare to offend the demon court? Death. Angry roars resounded and demonic chi soared into the sky. Aoin Yumie reappeared with the ferocious might of an ancient beast. It shook the ruins and faced the two god emperors. Chu Hong and Feng Jiu had mocking expressions. The peak 7th grade divine artifact was no weaker than Aoin Yumie. The two joined forces and firmly suppressed the demon master. Boom. Aoin Yumie flew back again. The immortal emperor's blood splattered, collapsing the space and cracking the earth. Kuan Yu, who was in the spirit liquid pool, was very anxious. He was afraid that Aoin Yumie couldn't hold on and he couldn't become an immortal emperor. Damn it, why was he so unlucky to encounter two peak god emperors of the divine court? Could it be that someone betrayed him? However, only the three of them and the demon emperor knew this news. Feng Jiu had always supported him and had no reason to betray him. Aoin Yumie was also loyal to the demon emperor. Could it be a coincidence? Did the heavens want the demon master dead? Kuan Yu was filled with grief and indignation, but the transformation was still continuing. He didn't dare to move. If the breakthrough failed, he would be finished. Feng Jiu held the phoenix spear and looked majestic. However, her calves were trembling. That old monkey, why did he have to play so big? He just needed to inform them and cause some trouble. Were they planning to kill the demon master? It would be better to kill him with one palm. Demon master, don't worry. Even if I die, I won't retreat. Feng Jiu said solemnly. Kuan Yu was touched even though he knew that Feng Jiu couldn't run even if she wanted to. Those were two peak celestial emperors. How could Feng Jiu run? She couldn't even take one palm. The ruins shook and space was torn apart. Chaotic energy surged into this space. Kuan Yu's aura became stronger and stronger. Innate divine might and innate divine patterns were evolving quickly. Aoin Yumie didn't fear death. He held them back and bought time for the demon master. Kuan Yu gradually calmed down. Aoin Yumie, good job. Peak celestial emperors were treasures to the demon race. They had celestial venerables and wouldn't die. Of course, the two celestial emperors definitely had them too. Time passed bit by bit. Because of Aoin Yumie's ferocity, it actually dragged on for an entire day. Kuan Yu's transformation finally took a big step forward. Celestial Emperor! Screech! Kuan Yu cried out excitedly. He had become an Celestial Emperor. His innate divine patterns were still evolving and his innate divine might was still strengthening. He wasn't an ordinary trash Celestial Emperor. He had endless potential and wanted to directly evolve the complete innate divine patterns. There was still some spiritual liquid left in the spiritual liquid pool. It wasn't enough for him to transform, but it didn't matter. He still had many materials on him. Buzz. Suddenly, a vast divine pattern rose. Aoin Yumie was directly sent into the void crack and flew into the chaos. A peak celestial emperor suppressed immortal Emperor Fengjiu with one palm and grabbed Kuan Yu with the other. A golden divine pagoda with countless divine patterns suppressed their demonic aura. Grade 8 demon subduing pagoda? Kuan Yu was stunned. Damn, you brought an immortal venerable divine artifact over? Weren't you bullying me? Why didn't you take it out before? Kuan Yu's transformation was interrupted. He was also thrown into the demon subduing pagoda. Divine power fluctuations covered the heavenly secrets. Fengjiu was also imprisoned. As for Aoyin Yumia, Chu Hong didn't plan to capture him alive. That wouldn't be worth it. If this guy risked his life and activated the Celestial Venerables technique, he might very well take Kuan Yu and the others away. After collecting the remaining innate spirit liquid, the two turned and left. An immortal Emperor Demon Master is obviously more valuable. Chu Hong looked at the two dumbfounded birds in the demon subduing pagoda. Fengjiu was just incidental. An immortal Emperor Demon Master was the main point. As for the complete transformation? What a joke. They only wanted to capture an immortal Emperor Demon Master alive and let him complete the transformation. Wouldn't that increase the combat power of the demon race? Kuan Yu, you definitely came prepared. Demon Emperor, save me. I was captured alive by the God Court again. Chapter 694. Amidst the chaos, Jiang Chongkong had already arrived at the teleportation array. Although he was not very clear about Kuan Yu's situation, he could guess Kuan Yu's fate. It was not a bad idea to keep this demon master alive to ruin the reputation of the demon court and the demon Dharch. After killing him, the demon Dharch could be replaced with another demon master. This piece of trash was still more useful. Would the demon Dharch die from anger if he made the demon court bleed again? He stepped onto the teleportation array. It was still made of chaos divine stones. Suddenly, he had an idea. Should he dismantle this place? This house could definitely improve the demon emperor's divine body. Unfortunately, he did not have the chaos divine fire. It would be very difficult to dismantle it, unless he used the reincarnation disk to slowly smash it. After activating the teleportation array, Jiang Chongkong arrived at the ruins. There was a chaos divine stone mountain that was hundreds of feet tall. It was filled with huge caves. It was filled with gray chaos aura. He did not know how deep it was. He also arrived at the demon emperor's side. It was a palace. Jiang Chongkong randomly found a cave and entered. The chaos aura was only helpful to him now. He turned into a wisp of chaos divine power and shuttled through the chaos aura. There were many chaos divine stones scattered in the cave. Jiang Chongkong collected them all. Roar. A strange roar suddenly sounded. A red fruit tree burning with scarlet flames appeared in front of him. The fruit tree was only 3 feet tall. There were 3 phoenix-like fruits hanging on it. They looked like 3 fire phoenixes. Jiang Chongkong smiled faintly. Was it the same method as last time? He arrived in front of the fruit tree. There was no danger or change. The fruit tree was illusory. There was an identical fruit tree growing in front of him. That roar just now? Jiang Chongkong pondered for a moment and quickly rushed over. Roar. The strange roar sounded again. An ape with a violent aura and chaos and immortal light appeared in front of him. Test subject. Jiang Chongkong was slightly shocked. This was also an ancient immortal god's test subject? The ape pounced at Jiang Chongkong. Its claws glowed with chaos light. Its strength was at the mid-stage immortal emperor level. A wisp of chaos divine power flew out. The ape fell and was suppressed by the chaos divine power. It's good to be an experimental subject. If I can bring it back to the heaven realm, I can try it out. Jiang Chongkong condensed the ape into a bead and held it in his hand. He brought it back to the heavenly realm to experiment. As he advanced, the roar sounded again. Jiang Chongkong saw a corpse. It was the corpse of an immortal. A divine wolf was chewing on its prey. God Wolf was a late-stage immortal emperor. Jiang Chongkong suppressed the immortal emperor's corpse again. It should have been taken away by someone, but he had no idea who it was. The deeper he went, the stronger these creatures became. He suppressed quite a few of them, and they were already at the peak of the late immortal emperor stage. He also saw many corpses, and they were all corpses of immortal emperors. Roar. The roar sounded again, and Jiang Chongkong's expression turned serious. Peak of the immortal emperor stage. From the roar, he could sense some strength. It was a phoenix, its entire body emitting blazing flames. Even the surrounding chaos godstones were showing signs of softening. The chaotic energy contained a terrifyingly high temperature. Roar. The phoenix roared, and there were actually sharp teeth in its mouth that were suffused with a cold light. Its sharp claws were like blades, tearing apart the chaotic energy as it pounced over. Jiang Chongkong's gaze shifted to the back of the phoenix. The miraculous fruit tree was right there. It was a real fruit tree, not an illusion. An immortal emperor's corpse was lying on the ground, face down. Boom! In their first clash, Jiang Chongkong and the phoenix retreated at the same time. This phoenix has such a strong physique. Jiang Chongkong was surprised. He did not know whether it was a fire phoenix or a fire phoenix. It was hard to tell the gender. The phoenix's body was even stronger than his connate chaotic Tao body. Together with the chaotic divine power and the phoenix's power, it was even stronger than him. Chaotic golden body activated. Jiang Chongkong fought with the phoenix again. His palms collided with the phoenix's sharp claws, and for a moment, his hands went numb. The phoenix retreated a few steps, its claws trembling. The phoenix did not know fear or how difficult it was to deal with. It pounced ferociously again. Its tyrannical aura and chaotic killing intent made it only have killing intent in its mind. Clang! In the passage, fists, palms, and claws constantly clashed. Feathers flew and flames scattered. Jiang Chongkong directly grabbed the phoenix's claws and tore them hard, wanting to tear them in half. Its sharp fangs opened and bit at Jiang Chongkong. Its three eyes opened at the same time, and chaotic divine light shot out and blasted into the phoenix's mouth. Boom! The phoenix flew out and hit the chaotic divine stone wall, blood flowing everywhere. The reincarnation plate appeared and directly suppressed the heavily injured phoenix, compressing it into a divine power ball. The phoenix wanted to struggle, but it could not shake the divine power of the reincarnation plate and was firmly suppressed. Only then did Jiang Chongkong step towards the fruit tree. The three fruits on it were lifelike, like real phoenixes. There was a huge hole on the back of the immortal emperor's corpse, and there were bite marks. It should have been eaten by the phoenix. Turning the corpse over, a familiar face shook Jiang Chongkong's mind. Gu Hanshan, the itinerant cultivator deputy alliance leader. How could it be him? Jiang Chongkong could not hide the shock on his face. Gu Hanshan was clearly still in the itinerant cultivators alliance. Could it be that he had another shortcut, came here first and died here? Gu Hanshan had nothing on him. His space equipment had been taken away, and his celestial artifact was also gone. Looking at the fruit tree, Jiang Chongkong first touched it with the reincarnation plate, but nothing happened. The fruit tree did not seem to be dangerous. Jiang Chongkong reached out to pull the fruit tree, but found that he could not pull it at all. The three fruits were easily plucked. They contained abundant blood qi and the shadow of the phoenix. Jiang Chongkong thought about it and also put away Gu Hanshan's corpse. He wanted to go back and take a look. However, before that, he should go to the other caves first. As for the other caves, Jiang Chongkong entered and found the same thing. They were all guided by the shadow of the fruit tree. However, there were no fruits on the fruit tree now. Here, there is no research information left. Jiang Chongkong was a little puzzled. Other than some experimental beasts and a fruit tree, there was no other information. He suppressed 8 immortal emperor experimental beasts. If he could, that would be 800,000 essence, enough for him to enter the late stage. He teleported back to the teleportation hut. The demon emperor had caught some chaos beasts, but not many. After returning to the heaven realm, he did not rush to the itinerant cultivators' alliance. Instead, he found a ruin and took out a beast. Mutated creature, chaos beast, death penalty. Reward, 1,000,000 heavens power. It was indeed useful. However, that phoenix was not a mutated creature, but a chaos beast. Was the heavenly Tao incomplete? This was obviously a loophole, and he could use it to obtain heaven's power. Without hesitation, Jiang Chongkong killed one and obtained 1,000,000 heavens power, transforming it into 100,000 essence, qi, and spirit. Soon, the 8 mutated creatures and chaos beasts were all killed. Jiang Chongkong's essence, qi, and spirit reached more than 2 million. After improving the 7 revolutions mystic art and entering the late stage, Jiang Chongkong should not be afraid of those immortal emperors anymore. He should be able to find Lin Qianshan and discuss about changing the alliance leader. With the support of the heavenly Tao fragment, Jiang Chongkong quickly completed his transformation. The god power in his body was condensed, its quality and quantity increased. Vast and boundless god power, the innate god pattern was also stronger. The essence of the laws. His god power surged unceasingly. Over at the demon emperor's side, there was a problem. Chapter 695. The entrance to the ruins where the demonic sovereign resided was a palace. Apart from him, there were also people from the heavenly court, immortal court, and monster court. This was only known after entering the ruins, as the demon Tharch had already sent people over. In a narrow space, 3 peak immortal emperors were facing off against each other. The demon emperor's arrival had broken the balance. The peak stage immortal emperor of the demon court was a heaven-devouring python. When he saw the demon sovereign arriving, not only did he not feel happy, his gaze turned gloomy instead. Most of the heaven-devouring python lineage were still loyal to the demon emperor. Demon race's demon emperor, Dong Wang Changyue. The peak immortal emperor of the immortal court stared at the demon emperor. The celestial emperor of the heavenly court looked gloomy and didn't say a word. I obtained a piece of primal chaos divine stone by chance and learned that there are ruins here. That's why I rushed here. The demonic beast emperor said calmly. Now it seems that all of you are in trouble. In the narrow space, there was only a pitch-black tunnel that led to an unknown destination. You don't have to worry, demon monarch, the heavenly court's immortal emperor said coldly and unconsciously moved closer to the immortal court's immortal emperor. No matter how bad the demon sovereign and the demon Tharch were, they were still members of the demon court. They would most likely stand on the side of the heaven-swallowing python. As expected, the demon emperor walked towards the heaven-devouring python and said, "Since you are in a difficult position, then give me the relic." The heaven-devouring python narrowed his eyes and looked at the two of them. "The two of you, the demon emperor is here. Are you still not going to give up?" I was just about to experience the strength of a demon sovereign. The immortal emperor of the heavenly court snorted coldly as a long saber appeared in his hand. The spear in the hands of the immortal court's immortal emperor emitted a connate aura. "Then we'll have to rely on our own strength." That's what I was thinking. The demon emperor was indifferent, but he changed the topic. "However, before we make our move, shouldn't we take a look at what's inside?" The 3 peak immortal emperors pondered for a moment and nodded. It would be hilarious if they ended up fighting to the death for nothing. The 4 peak immortal emperors entered the pitch-black tunnel at the same time. They split up in pairs to prevent themselves from attacking. In the dark tunnel, a beam of light suddenly appeared and flew towards them. The 4 of them acted at the same time. Divine power intercepted the light, but it turned out to be a fragment of golden armor. "This is a fragment of grade 7 immortal armor?" The immortal emperor of the heavenly court was slightly shocked. The 4 of them increased their speed and flew forward. Another beam of light flew over. This time, it was a weapon fragment. All of them were immortal emperors. A jade token flew over and was grabbed by the immortal emperor of the heavenly court. He said grimly, "This is the identity jade token of an immortal emperor of the heavenly court." He entered the chaos to hunt down the rogue immortal emperors. The heaven-swallowing python said sinisterly, "Now it seems that he has already fallen." The heavenly court's immortal emperor didn't say anything and continued forward. The passageway was very long. Even a peak immortal emperor had to spend an hour to pass through it. Suddenly, a suction force came from the front and the 4 immortal emperors hurriedly circulated their god force to resist the suction force. Light flashed in front of them. Black and white, yin and yang qi circulated and pressed down on them. The divine power of the 4 of them surged, shattering the black and white energies as they retreated. The passage behind them had disappeared, and they appeared in a black and white world. The yin and yang energies continued to erode their divine power. Mysterious runes appeared and sealed off the area. The surroundings were filled with black and white qi, with no end in sight. Rays of light constantly flew over from the front. They were all grade 7 immortal armors and immortal equipment fragments. Occasionally there would be some corpse fragment. Bang! The demon sovereign slammed his palm against the yin and yang qi and was forced to retreat. The heaven-swallowing python and the others also shattered the yin and yang qi and retreated. The power here was no weaker than them. What kind of ruin is this? The heaven-swallowing python's eyes flashed. He couldn't care less about fighting now. Boom! A yin and yang energy descended as the demon sovereign revealed his golden crow body. The chaotic golden crow flames burned and clashed with the yin and yang qi. The immortal court and heavenly court's immortal emperors didn't say anything. They didn't know what kind of ruin this was. "I will make a move first." The heavenly court's immortal emperor directly left and headed towards the place where the immortal equipment fragments flew out. The immortal court's immortal emperor and the heaven-swallowing python hurriedly followed. They didn't want their good stuff to be taken by others. Moreover, the passageway had disappeared, so there was nothing they could do about it. The demon sovereign pondered for a moment. He wasn't sure if he should let his main body come over. Now that his main body had successfully broken through, he could totally suppress these 3 peak immortal emperors. It would be difficult for him to fight 1 against 3 alone. After sending the message, he followed. Roar! Suddenly, a roar came from within the yin and yang qi. A ferocious beast with a violent aura pounced over. The heaven-swallowing python and the other 2 were nowhere to be seen. The demon sovereign's gaze turned serious. The moment the beast appeared, he felt an unusual aura. Samsara aura. Right behind the yin and yang qi. He slapped out and forced the beast back. A divine bell image appeared above the demon sovereign's head. Dang! The ancient bell reverberated. The yin and yang qi in the surroundings shook and cracks appeared. The samsara aura became thicker and thicker. The beast roared, and under its sharp fangs, there was still some flesh and blood. The demon sovereign lifted his palm and god force pressed down, suppressing the beast. This was an intermediate stage immortal emperor beast. The chaos bell shook once more and a crack appeared. The demon sovereign turned into a beam of light and entered. Thick samsara power swept over and instantly wrapped the demon sovereign within. A majestic blood-yellow river flowed and restricted his body. A corrosive power appeared. River of forgetfulness. Many skeletons struggled in the river and pounced over. The demon sovereign cast aside all distracting thoughts, closed his eyes and walked on the river. As for those skeletons, they kept roaring, but they didn't dare to get close to the demon sovereign, as if they were extremely afraid. Half an hour later, the demon sovereign stood at the shore and turned back. Those skeletons were still struggling. These skeletons weren't illusions but real. The weakest was an immortal king. Some of them didn't just belong to chaos beasts but something else. Many huge stone tablets and many huge containers appeared in front of the demon sovereign. On the stone tablets, some information was recorded. Another ancient immortal god's experimental ground. If I can't make Pangu, then I won't. The demon sovereign sighed. After messing around so much, he didn't even know if they would succeed in the end. He had leveled up, and it wasn't because of their research. The information recorded on the stone tablets was about the research of the ancient immortal god. As for the skeletons in the river of forgetfulness, some of them were failed experiments. Once the research failed, they would be thrown into the river of forgetfulness and buried forever. The river of time has been separated into a tributary. Hidden information is surging in the chaos. The demon sovereign's gaze froze. River of time? A tributary? Hidden information? Why did such a sentence suddenly appear? Was it related to research? Or was it just randomly left behind? In those containers there were many creation beasts that didn't come to life. There seemed to be only one beast that attacked him, and there wasn't a second one. He continued to look at the stone tablet. The route we took to leave, damn. The demon sovereign nearly smashed the stone tablet. The route they took to leave had been erased. Combined with the previous sentence, could it be a tributary hidden in the river of time? The yin-yang dual qi bottle guards the research ground and uses the yin-yang dual qi to evolve creation beasts. The demon sovereign looked at the other stone tablets, and the yin-yang dual qi appeared in his mind. They entered the yin-yang dual qi bottle? The yin-yang dual qi bottle was the treasure of the golden rock. They didn't take it with them when they left? Chapter 696. Monster Emperor was confused. He raised his head and could only see the pitch-black sky. The yin-yang twin qi bottle was guarding the entrance. Ancient immortals used yin and yang to create living beings? However, shouldn't that person be called over for the creator's job? He had almost finished reading the contents on the stone tablet. The method to keep the yin-yang twin qi bottle was also recorded on it. If he wanted to leave, apart from keeping the yin-yang twin qi bottle, he needed someone to receive him from the outside, just like how he did before. Otherwise, only celestial sovereigns could forcefully leave. Monster Emperor started to wander around. There was no danger here, so he just had to wait patiently. If his main body came over, he could definitely receive him and leave. A few hours later, Monster Emperor suddenly stopped and looked towards the river of forgetfulness. The skeletons actually stopped struggling. As if they knew they could not get up, they started to sink into the river. Roar. A roar suddenly sounded out. The river water surged and the entire experimental ground shook. The stone tablet shook and collapsed. The container cracked and the creation inside started to crack. Black and white energies appeared in the sky. Monster Emperor frowned. His main body had not come over yet. It should be related to the three immortal emperors. The roar sounded out again. The pitch-black sky shook and yin and yang energies appeared. Suddenly, chaotic divine power spread out. Chaos beasts. There were chaos beasts sealed here too? Monster Emperor fell silent. With his main body's speed, it would take some time for him to come over. Should he go out and take a look? The divine bell appeared and Monster Emperor flew towards the yin and yang energies. Within the yin and yang energies, a terrifying power disrupted the world of black and white. Heaven-devouring Python and Immortal Court Immortal Emperor flew out at the same time. Their bodies were full of cracks as they looked forward in fear. A huge figure appeared. It was the peak Immortal Emperor of Heavenly Court. At this moment, his divine power wrapped around his legs and fused into his body. The two legs of the chaos beasts. Endless chaotic energy entered his body and changed his divine power and body. The roar came from his mouth. Two golden feathers appeared above his head, suppressing the two beast legs. Divine might and divine power rose continuously, allowing him to reach the limit of Immortal Emperor. Are the people of Heavenly Court going to become monsters? Heaven-devouring Python's body healed and looked coldly at the peak Immortal Emperor of Heavenly Court. The peak Immortal Court Immortal Emperor had a cold expression. You stole the research results of the ancient immortal gods? Steal? The heavenly court's immortal emperor sneered and said proudly, "This is not stealing, but obtaining the inheritance and making use of the treasures left behind by the ancient immortal gods." The ancient immortals didn't create things to turn immortals into disgusting creatures that are neither human nor ghost. The demon emperor walked over, the sound of the bell reverberating. His expression was cold. "Isn't the heavenly court afraid of being attacked by everyone?" The immortal court's immortal emperor gripped his divine saber tightly with a solemn expression. With the addition of 2 beast legs, this peak immortal emperor of the heavenly court had already reached the limits of an immortal emperor, or even surpassed it. A primal chaos ferocious beast could create a peak immortal emperor with 1 hand. 2 legs was even more terrifying. However, this was not enough for him to surpass the immortal emperor stage and become an immortal reverend. Moreover, in order to become an immortal venerable, it was not enough to just have power. One had to comprehend it themselves. It could only be said that this immortal emperor had boundless strength and wasn't afraid of exhaustion. The transformation was still ongoing. The heavenly court's immortal emperor had yet to fully grasp the power of the primordial beast's legs. However, the demon emperor and the others were attacked by the yin and yang energy once again, causing them to collapse. The divine bell enlarged and enveloped the 2 immortal emperors. "I will block the yin and yang energy for you. Attack immediately. Once he fully grasps it, it will be troublesome." Roar. The heaven-devouring python roared. At this moment, there was no difference between demon emperor and demon emperor. The immortal court's immortal emperor also activated all his immortal power. The divine spear shook the space of yin and yang energy as it slashed towards the heavenly court's immortal emperor. "You guys are really stupid." The heavenly court's immortal emperor smiled in disdain. The immortal saber in his hand swallowed the ferocious might of the primordial chaos. The chaotic spatial laws, under the enhancement of divine power, the immortal saber swallowed the ferocious might and the saber radiance enveloped the 3 of them. The peerless saber radiance and peak immortal emperor divine might tore apart the yin and yang energy, revealing the research area below. However, they couldn't avoid their attacks there. Roar. Some ferocious beasts suddenly charged out from the yin and yang energy. No matter who it was, they all pounced on them. Boom. Wherever the saber radiance passed, the ferocious beasts were directly turned into ashes. The 2 peak immortal emperors were sent flying as they coughed out blood. The divine bell's shadow shook and almost dissipated. The demon emperor was forced to retreat and was almost injured. Not only did he have to protect them, but he also had to defend against the yin and yang energy. The saber radiance also affected him. "You guys are too weak." The heavenly court's immortal emperor's boundless divine power and dense chaotic power were replacing his celestial power, making him even stronger. The ancient celestial gods left behind such great power and boundless treasures. If I don't know how to use them, wouldn't I be letting them down? The immortal court's immortal emperor swallowed a pill to recover his divine power and said coldly, "This kind of external help will definitely affect you. In the end, did you borrow the power or did the power assimilate you?" "Of course, it's because I have control over the power," the heavenly court's immortal emperor said proudly. The immortal saber vibrated and a towering saber radiance split the black and white space, enveloping the 3 of them. "Be careful." The demon emperor shouted and the divine bell's shadow rang, shattering the black and white energy attacking them. The 2 peak immortal emperors attacked again. Celestial light shone brightly and divine runes filled the sky. With a loud explosion, the 3 of them were sent flying. The immortal emperor's blood splattered and a crack appeared on the demon emperor's chaotic golden crow divine body. "I dare to do this because the ancient celestial gods have already solved this problem." The heavenly court's immortal emperor's divine power was like an ocean. Wherever the chaotic divine power passed, the yin and yang energy were quickly destroyed. He had so much power that he had nowhere to vent it. The terrifying power in his body urgently needed to be vented, and the way to vent it was the three in front of him. His two beast legs were really too full for him. "Don't you have any celestial venerable treasures?" The demon emperor looked at the two immortal emperors. The heaven-devouring python hissed and shook its giant head. They really didn't have any. "Does a life-saving measure count?" The immortal court's immortal emperor said softly. "Demon emperor, you all have celestial venerable life-saving measures, but I don't. What do you mean by this? Are you not going to struggle anymore? Are you going to be pushed to the brink of death? Are you going to escape with the help of an immortal venerable?" The immortal saber shone and the demon emperor's expression was anxious. He really wanted to kick the two of them out to die, but he couldn't. Could it be that he had to create a secondary body? The chaotic beasts that he was suppressing would also be chopped to death. He had suffered a huge loss this time. His main body was already rushing over. It would take a while. Kill. Waiting for death is not in this emperor's character. The demon emperor shouted coldly. The golden crow body swallowed and spat out flames. The divine bell phantom shattered the black and white chi and charged towards the heavenly court's immortal emperor. The heaven-devouring python and the immortal court's immortal emperor moved at the same time. The heaven-devouring power, the immortal emperor divine spear, and the might of an exalted immortal broke through their limits. They didn't want to waste a life-saving measure. Celestial venerables weren't their babysitters. The three-peak immortal emperors surrounded the heavenly court's immortal emperor. However, he, who had fused with two beast legs, was no longer an ordinary immortal emperor. Rumble! Terrifying power exploded. His divine power was like a raging river, spreading out and tearing the black and white chi apart. The divine bell phantom dissipated and the immortal emperor's spear flew out of his hands. He forcefully used the heaven-devouring power, and his saber chi almost split the heaven-devouring python in half. Chapter 697. The immortal emperor of the heavenly court wantonly squandered the power that came easily. Faintly surpassing the limits of an immortal emperor made him almost invincible. Yin and yang shattered, black and white reversed, and the might to change the heavens and earth. The power of primal chaos rampaged, and even the golden crow and the bell of primal chaos could not withstand its divine might. The three peak stage immortal emperors stabilized themselves, and their expressions were unprecedentedly heavy. The methods of the heavenly court were truly beyond everyone's expectations. The demon emperor paid attention to the immortal court's immortal emperor. His expression didn't change, and he didn't try to harm them. The divine spear spun, immortal power poured into it, and the power of an exalted immortal illuminated the black and white space. Boom! A scarlet flame appeared and the three's expressions changed. Even the heavenly court's immortal emperor's expression changed. The crimson flames were terrifyingly hot. Even the demon emperor's chaos divine body showed signs of softening. Flames shot out from the yin and yang chi, enveloping every corner. The shadow of the bell of chaos condensed again, but it could not completely isolate the temperature of the flames. The divine spear of the immortal court's immortal emperor trembled. His move was disrupted by the flames. The yin-yang dual chi bottle was rumored to be able to summon divine flames if one spoke within it. The power of the heavenly court's immortal emperor tore apart the black and white energies, shattered the yin and yang energies, and alarmed the yin and yang energies bottle. The chaos beast's leg released its divine power as the projection of the chaos nomological laws appeared, suppressing the flames and isolating the high temperatures. What a disappointment! It's over. The appearance of the flame made the heavenly court's immortal emperor lose his patience. It's still too early to end this. The heaven-devouring python let out a low roar, and its divine body expanded. Its body was tens of thousands of feet long, and its mouth was like the sky. It was actually not afraid of the burning flames, and it forcefully used the heaven-devouring divine ability. The immortal court's immortal emperor didn't back down either. His divine spear slashed through the black and white chi, separating the black and white heaven and earth. The demon emperor transformed into a great sun and controlled the chaos bell to surround them. The saber light was mixed with primal chaos divine energy. Tyrannical, destructive, and spatial powers gathered at this moment. Boom! A burst of fireworks, a dazzling divine light, and a gray, mysterious primal chaos bloomed at this moment. The blade radiance tore apart his body, shattered the divine bell, and pierced through the sun. The divine spear flew out of his hand. The immortal armor on his body cracked, and there were countless blade marks. The saber chi pierced through the python's body, leaving a huge wound that started from the python's mouth and extended all the way to its abdomen. The heavenly court's celestial emperor's body trembled slightly. A hint of violence flashed in his eyes, and his ferocious aura became stronger and stronger. The three immortal emperors tumbled in the black and white energy, falling into the crack and into the experimental site. Thump! The river surged as countless skeletons pounced over in a frenzy. They wanted to devour them and drag them to the bottom of the river. The demon emperor and the other two quickly sank down. The skeletons pounced on them, but they couldn't bite a single piece of flesh, and a single drop of blood was enough to shatter them. Vicious might surged. The imperial court's immortal emperor also came, floating above the yellow blood river. A pair of beast legs released hazy primal chaos. The river of forgetfulness was also suppressed by him, unable to drag him down. The golden feather on top of his head shone with divine light, allowing him to not be affected by the river. Do you think this place can protect you? His cold smile was filled with contempt and sarcasm. The celestial Dharch had studied the research site for countless years, so how could they compare to it? The river was parting, the skeletons were collapsing one by one, and the celestial emperor of the celestial court slowly descended. The skeletons on the bodies of the three demon emperors disappeared and turned into ashes. After taking the pill, his injuries healed quickly. His main body was about to arrive, and he only needed one more move. The saber light flashed again, and space cracked. Flames flew out from the cracks in space. Are the two of you waiting to die so early? The demon emperor stood up, his expression indifferent. Even if you have life-saving methods and escape, you will need to pay a huge price to recover, right? Not only would it require a huge price, but it might also disappoint those immortal sovereigns, the beast emperors, and the celestial court's celestial Dharch. Don't talk nonsense, this emperor will not let him have it easy, the celestial court's immortal emperor said coldly. Unfortunately, the divine spear was no longer here, so he could only rely on a pair of immortal palms. Peak's celestial emperor is indeed powerful. The heaven-devouring python's injuries barely healed, and his gaze was cold. Forcefully swallowing the sky had caused his injuries to be very serious. The celestial court's celestial emperor had a proud expression as he looked down at them. It's already not bad that you can last until now. This emperor is not someone an ordinary peak celestial emperor can compare to. The saber light fell with the power to destroy heaven and earth, a saber that could destroy a divine planet. His strength was indeed not something an ordinary peak celestial emperor could compare to, and he was only slightly weaker than Sun Wuxuan. If he had a divine artifact, he might be able to fight against Sun Wuxuan. The demon emperor regretted bringing Sun Wuxuan next time. He couldn't always let his main body save him. The fragment of the Bell of Chaos, the demon monarch who had transformed into a sun, the heaven-devouring python who had manifested its true form, and the immortal emperor who was at the peak of the immortal court. The combined attack tore through the divine flames that appeared in the void and rushed toward the blade light. The three of them did not hold back, nor did they dare to hold back. Holding back at this time would only lead to death. There were no terrifying fireworks like before. It was completely silent and deathly silent. Half of the Fiend Monarch's body tumbled down. The Fiend Monarch's primal chaos body had suffered the greatest damage in its history. The heaven-devouring python had been broken into 3 pieces, and the spatial divine power remained in its wounds, making it impossible for it to heal. The immortal court's immortal emperor was also sliced into 2, and he was in a miserable state just like the demon emperor. The blood of an immortal emperor dyed the river of forgetfulness golden. You guys are really tenacious. The immortal emperor of the heavenly courts sighed with a hint of shock in his eyes. If it was him, he would have already used an immortal venerable method to escape. If this place wasn't special, would you be able to keep us here? The heaven-devouring python said fiercely. They couldn't even escape from the world of the yin-yang twin chi bottle. Although the demon emperor had seen the method to collect the yin-yang twin chi bottle, it was suppressed here, and he could only collect it after finding the core restriction. Otherwise, he would have used the yin-yang twin chi bottle to fight with this person in front of him, and he wouldn't have been so miserable. The immortal emperor of the heavenly courts suddenly glared at the demon emperor. It's all your **t ideas. When we were outside we should have killed this guy first. The demon emperor. At that time the 2 of you were in cahoot. Strictly speaking, you were the one who helped him. Enough **t, I'll send you off. The blade light rose again, and the violent aura in the immortal emperor's eyes dissipated. This also made him heave a sigh of relief. If he used too much force with his beast legs, it would still affect him. Boom! The void cracked and a disc smashed down. The immortal emperor's expression changed, and he turned his blade to meet the disc. Dang! Boom! Terrifying divine might clashed, and the disc released reincarnation power. The reincarnation power of the battlefield was used to strengthen the disc. The immortal emperor was sent flying, and he fell into the river of forgetfulness. His hand was torn, and the feathers on his head shook violently. Reincarnation disc, Jiang Changkong. A furious roar resounded, and the river surged. The immortal emperor of the heavenly courts charged out, and his expression was ferocious. Demon emperor, you are still inferior to me. Jiang Changkong smiled, and he looked at the demon emperor who was split in half. The demon emperor said coldly, "What a joke. You only have a complete saint artifact. Be careful, it might be stolen. This piece of trash can't do it." Jiang Changkong said in disdain. The reincarnation disc released divine might, and in his hands, it was like a brick, smashing towards the immortal emperor of the heavenly courts. The 3 of them took the chance to recover, and they expelled the spatial power. The immortal emperor's body flashed, and he was prepared to travel through the void. Chapter 698. The reincarnation disc suppressed the void. The power of the sage artifact sealed the space and forced back the divine fire. The divine banner appeared, and a terrifying aura was brewing. The celestial emperor of the heavenly court didn't use the law of space to travel through the void because he didn't need to. However, against Jiang Changkong, he couldn't use it even if he wanted to. Although the sage artifact couldn't use its full power, it could prevent him from merging into the void. The figure holding the divine banner in his hand surged with primal chaos divine power as he activated his primal chaos golden body again. The shadow of the divine banner descended with a supreme power that seemed to be able to split the heavens and earth. The celestial emperor of the heavenly court could only block it. The blade light rose again, and the feather stabbed into the beast's leg. Roar! The beast roared, and the chaotic beast phantom appeared again. It was still the phantom of the law of space. Boom! The chaotic beast phantom roared and rolled out, dimming a little. The blade light was destroyed, and the celestial emperor of the heavenly court was suppressed. What goes around comes around. You're so arrogant. The celestial emperor of the heavenly court was very satisfied. The arrogant met the more arrogant. The divine banner smashed down one after another. It wasn't weaker than any grade 7 immortal artifact. In addition, the golden rock had obtained a piece of cloth. Even if the divine banner didn't reach grade 8, it wasn't far from it. The celestial emperor's immortal artifact blade cracked and buzzed. The immortal emperor's blood splattered and the beast phantom became weaker and weaker. The reincarnation disk's suppression suddenly strengthened. It turned out that the monster emperor and the other celestial emperors had recovered and were supporting the reincarnation disk. The monster emperor was his secondary body. With him guiding it, there was naturally no problem. Moreover, the monster emperor had awakened the underworld heavenly Tao. No one would doubt that he could control the reincarnation disk. Boom! It smashed down again. The celestial emperor rolled out and the beast phantom completely dissipated. The violent aura on its body became stronger and stronger. Its influence on him deepened. The so-called method to stop the assimilation was simply nonsense. Unless his strength far exceeded the two beast legs, he wouldn't be affected. The golden feather could only help him control it temporarily. Clang! The Chaos Bell Phantom also came. Two figures and two sage artifact fragments smashed down at the same time. Blood splattered. The celestial emperor's body cracked, and the beast leg was about to leave his body. It was about to explode. Damn it, Jiang Chongkong, the heavenly court will definitely not let you off. The celestial emperor of the heavenly court roared in anger. The matter of the heavenly court had been ruined twice. As his roar stopped, a terrifying aura came over. Jiang Chongkong was prepared for it and quickly retreated. The aura of an immortal venerable tore through the void and left this place. Jiang Chongkong put away the wheel of reincarnation and the broken pieces of the banner. Demon Emperor, you're really too weak. I dealt with the ruins and rushed over to save you. Give me the reincarnation plate and I can save you. The demon emperor snorted coldly and circulated his god power to heal his injuries. The heaven-devouring python and the immortal court's immortal emperor climbed out of the river of forgetfulness. I will report the matter of the heavenly court to the demon emperor, said the heaven-devouring python. The immortal court immortal emperor cupped his fists and said, Demon sovereign, Jiang Chongkong, the immortal court has pardoned the heavenly world. Feel free to visit me in the future. I will be grateful if the immortal court doesn't chase after me. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. Of course not. Speaking of which, you only have a huge grudge with the heavenly court. You don't have such a huge grudge with the immortal court, Xie Tianshi said. Jiang Chongkong nodded his head and said, Do you know about the celestial spirit? The celestial spirit was hiding in the immortal court and has been cleaned up by the heavenly emperor, Xie Tianshi said. Let's think of a way to leave this place. Jiang Chongkong, how did you get here? The heaven-devouring python asked. The tunnel disappeared after I entered. However, it isn't hard to leave, Jiang Chongkong said calmly. He tore through the void and entered the black and white space. I will make a trip with the demon emperor. After saying that, he headed deeper with the demon emperor to search for the core restriction. Not far from where they fought, near the core restriction, the legs that were suppressing the primal chaos beasts were taken out by the immortal court immortal emperor. Now, the power of the formation had weakened by a lot. A 2 feet 4 inches tall bottle appeared. It was the yin-yang dual qi bottle. The mouth of the bottle faced the entrance that they entered from and it breathed in and out the yin-yang dual qi bottle. The demon emperor had already learned how to keep it. The primal chaos golden crow divine power formed special divine runes and imprinted them on the yin-yang dual qi bottle. 1. The yin-yang dual qi bottle trembled slightly. It turned into a stream of light and entered the demon emperor's body. Although it wasn't a sage artifact, it was still a peak grade 8 immortal artifact. If one's strength increased, an ordinary immortal venerable would turn into a puddle of blood in a short time. As the yin-yang dual qi bottle was kept, the black and white space dissipated. Hong long long. Without the suppression of the yin-yang dual qi bottle, torrential primal chaos energy flooded this place. The tunnel appeared. The heaven-devouring python and Xie Tianshi were still waiting for them. The 4 of them left together. Unfortunately, the primal chaos beasts that the demon emperor was suppressing had been killed by the immortal court immortal emperor. In the previous battle, the demon emperor couldn't protect them and was killed. Now that they had obtained the yin-yang dual qi bottle, they didn't care about that loss. They could also increase the strength of the demon emperor. They had already tested it. In the future, if there were primal chaos beasts, they could bring them back to the heaven world and kill them. After leaving this place, they stepped onto the teleportation array and returned to the house that Jiang Chongkong and the demon emperor teleported from. Xie Tianshi and the heaven-devouring python left directly. The demon emperor and Jiang Chongkong took out the reincarnation disc and smashed it at the teleportation stone house. This time, the demon emperor's divine body was damaged and needed chaos divine stones to strengthen it. He hoped that Huda wouldn't kill him in anger if she knew that he was using the reincarnation disc like this. After smashing it for 3 days, he finally got a large piece of chaos divine stone and put it in the bottle. The two of them then left. After arriving at the celestial world, they separated. The demon emperor went to strengthen his body. At this time, Jiang Chongkong finally had time to look at his data. Jiang Chongkong, Peak Immortal Emperor, God Emperor, 7 Transformation Mystic Art, Deshang, 1/8000000 Connate Chaotic Tao Body, Initial Success, 1/20000000 Golden Crow Immortal Sutra, Perfected, 1/40000000 Essence, Energy, Spirit, 270980 Inch. Now, it's time to go to the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance. Gu Hanshan. Jiang Chongkong tore the void and returned to the divine planet where the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance was located. As soon as the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance returned to the palace, the Sun Brothers and Northern Demon arrived immediately. Jiang Chongkong sensed the aura in the divine planet and spied on the Immortal Emperor expert. He didn't see the 2 Vice Alliance Masters or Alliance Master Lin Qianshan. Did Vice Alliance Master Gu Hanshan go out? Jiang Chongkong asked. Sun Li replied, yes. Not long after you left, he brought people to the vicinity of Buzhou Mountain. Buzhou Mountain? Jiang Chongkong frowned. What is he doing there? I don't know. We only know where he went. The 3 of them shook their heads. Northern Demon pondered and said, I heard some news that there will be Connate fairy artifacts and materials near Buzhou Mountain. Connate fairy artifacts and materials? Lin Qianshan and Pei Yuanheng also went there? Jiang Chongkong stroked the space ring. If Gu Hanshan went to Buzhou Mountain, then who was the Gu Hanshan in his space equipment? Or was there a teleportation array there that sent Gu Hanshan there? It's all in the past. Sun Li looked a little excited and said, now they are all gone. Are you planning to take over the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance? We will definitely support you. The corner of Jiang Chongkong's mouth twitched. Tell me more about Gu Hanshan and Lin Qianshan in detail. Even if he wanted to change the Alliance Master, he should do it openly, not now. Chapter 699. We don't know much about Lin Qianshan and the rest. They were all exiled in the ancient heaven realm. Then they disappeared. All the immortal emperors disappeared. Only recently did they reappear after the heaven realm reformed. Sun Li pondered. Did they go to the chaos? Jiang Chongkong asked. North Demon answered, definitely. No immortal emperor has ever been to the chaos. Jiang Chongkong thought for a moment and stood up. I'll be going to Buzhou City. Cultivate well. Here is some chaos beast meat. After tossing them some primal chaos beast meat, Jiang Chongkong tore through the void and left. Sun Li and the other 2 didn't think much. They happily took it and went into seclusion. Jiang Chongkong's attacks were basically immortal emperors. They were of great help to them. On the demon emperor's side, the chaos divine stone had already melted. 3 phoenix fruits and the phoenix corpse appeared in his hand. This should be enough to bribe Fengjiu. Buzhou Mountain was on the body of an ancient being. It had collapsed before and was repaired by the immortals with great divine powers. Now, Buzhou Mountain was shrouded in divine light. The divine trees on the mountain reached the sky and the weeds were like trees. The heavy divine aura made even immortal emperors not dare to get close. Near Buzhou Mountain, there were abundant immortal herbs and connate spirit herbs. There were even connate spirit stone veins. Jiang Chongkong tore space apart all the way. When he was tens of thousands of miles away, he could already see some immortals rushing towards Buzhou Mountain. There were even some factions stationed nearby. He even saw Penglai and Zhen Yuan's celestial sect disciples. When he was 10,000 miles away from Buzhou Mountain, he stopped. The divine aura here was already very terrifying. He couldn't tear space apart anymore. Some weaker immortals ran quickly on the ground. Those below Immortal Lord couldn't even fly here. Jiang Chongkong scanned the area and didn't see the three alliance leaders. The divine light of a battle came from ahead. Two figures were fighting. One's sword chi rushed into the clouds and sword intent shook the 9 heavens. The other's dharma arts were profound and ever-changing. Both were early-stage immortal emperors. They were locked in a stalemate. Jiang Chongkong watched from the side. He knew the person holding the sword. It was Ji Yunxiao. He didn't know the other person. It was a young immortal emperor, but since he was able to fight against Ji Yunxiao, his background shouldn't be small. Maybe he was from one of the 4 major powers. The sword lights interweaved, tearing and changing. Ji Yunxiao's strength was extraordinary, her sword chi was endless, it was faintly discernible and unfathomable. The young immortal emperor was much more flashy. Sometimes, he would transform into an immortal crane, and sometimes, he would transform into a true dragon to resist the sword chi. Moreover, this person's transformation contained a mysterious power, able to use a portion of the divine abilities of transformation objects. The true dragon controlled lightning, and the immortal crane soared through the clouds. It was indeed exquisite. Buzz. The sword tore apart the thunderbolts, but there was a dazzling white light. Ji Yunxiao's body froze for a moment, and she actually stopped moving, as if she had lost her consciousness. The young immortal emperor quickly flew down from the clouds and turned into an immortal crane, pecking at Ji Yunxiao's glabella. Ji Yunxiao acted as though she did not see it. Instead, she let go of the divine sword in her hand and withdrew her divine power, giving up on resisting. Ding! The red-crowned crane landed, but it was unable to break through the defense. Its body tumbled out and transformed into a human. "Who are you?" The young immortal emperor had a heavy expression. He couldn't see through the person in front of him. The heavenly book appeared. Jiang Chongkong had a strange expression on his face. He couldn't see through the information of this person. Immortal Emperor of Justice, Jiang Chongkong. Jiang Chongkong calmly spoke. He placed a hand on Ji Yunxiao's shoulder, and the white light instantly dissipated. "Let's forget about this matter." The young immortal emperor cast a deep glance at him before turning to leave. "Farewell." The white light dissipated and Ji Yunxiao regained her consciousness. She stared at the departing person with a heavy expression on her face. "Do you want to capture him?" Jiang Chongkong calmly asked. "There's no need." Ji Yunxiao shook her head. "I don't have any great enmity with him. It's just that we encountered each other when we were fighting for treasures. This person's methods are strange. What was that white light earlier? This emperor actually couldn't see through it." Jiang Chongkong asked. "A half-completed immortal slaying flying knife." Ji Yunxiao solemnly said. "He is from the immortal slaying sect in the region governed by the immortal court. He obtained a portion of Taoist Lu Ye's inheritance." Hearing about the immortal slaying flying knife, Jiang Chongkong had a look of surprise on his face. This was an extremely famous treasure. He didn't expect to see a defective one here. If it was able to freeze him, he would be in danger. However, thinking about it, if they were at the same cultivation realm, Ji Yunxiao probably wouldn't even be able to break through his defenses. There was nothing for him to worry about. As for Ji Yunxiao being stronger than him, A casual move would be enough to kill him. I haven't congratulated you yet. Becoming an immortal emperor has already far surpassed me. Ji Yunxiao had a complicated expression on her face, but she quickly recovered. She had cultivated step by step without relying on the power of the heavens. Jiang Chongkong smiled faintly. We are old friends. There's no need to be so polite. Oh right, why are you here at Mount Buzhou? Looking for materials? I originally wanted to come here to admire this sacred mountain. However, immortal emperors can't enter. I could only wander around nearby and found a Xiantian spirit herb. Then, I fought with that person. After Ji Yunxiao finished her story, she asked, Are you here for Mount Buzhou as well? Jiang Chongkong said, No, I'm here to look for people. I wonder if you've seen the 3 leaders of the Itinerant Cultivators Alliance. Lin Qianshan, Gu Hanzhan, Pei Yuanheng? Ji Yunxiao pondered for a moment. I haven't seen them. However, if they are nearby, they shouldn't be able to hide from Peng Lai. Then I'll have to trouble you. Jiang Chongkong cupped his hands. Peng Lai was very powerful. They had immortal venerables and many immortal emperors. Finding 3 people shouldn't be a problem. Are you interested in going to Peng Lai? Ji Yunxiao invited. I'm afraid Peng Lai doesn't welcome me. Jiang Chongkong smiled and said, I want to go to Mount Buzhou to take a look. Why can't immortal emperors enter? Ji Yunxiao explained to him that it was because of the barrier that enveloped Mount Buzhou. The barrier restricted immortal emperors from entering. Only those below immortal emperor could enter Mount Buzhou. Mount Buzhou's godly aura was very strong. Those below immortal emperor would find it very difficult to enter. Jiang Chongkong came near Mount Buzhou. The godly aura was getting stronger and stronger. At the foot of the mountain, Ji Yunxiao found it even harder to fly. Jiang Chongkong felt like he was carrying the mountain on his back. His flying speed was very slow. The godly aura in the air was stronger. The higher he went, the stronger it got. Looking up at Mount Buzhou, he couldn't see the end of it. The mountain had already rushed out of the heaven realm and entered the chaos. Can immortal venerables enter? Jiang Chongkong asked. No. Ji Yunxiao shook her head. Not long after Mount Buzhou appeared, Peng Lai's immortal venerables and Zhen Yuansek's immortal venerables came to try. The result was the same. They couldn't move the barrier. Jiang Chongkong thought for a moment and descended. He retracted the godly power in his body and maintained his early immortal cultivation. Emperor Hao Tian's methods could even fool the heavenly Tao. It should work here too, right? Jiang Chongkong reached out and touched the golden barrier. Bang! A rebounding force came and Jiang Chongkong was sent flying. Jiang Chongkong was a little shocked. Was this a method left behind by a sage or Emperor Hao Tian? Only these 2 possibilities could see through his concealment. Ji Yunxiao smiled faintly and said, If you want to know the situation inside, you can send some immortal kings in to record it and pass it to you. That's the only way. Jiang Chongkong smiled helplessly. He looked in the other direction. Many immortal kings had entered. Chapter 700. Now, Mount Buzhou could be used as a place of protection for immortal kings. If they offended an immortal emperor, they could enter this place, and the immortal emperor would not be able to pursue them. If he could escape the pursuit of the immortal emperor and enter this place. He took Ji Yunxiao to wander around Mount Buzhou, looking for Gu Hanzhan and the other 2. Even after a day had passed, Jiang Chongkong did not find any trace of Gu Hanzhan and the others, nor did he find the Peng Lai sect. The other side, the demonic beast emperor, had already finished upgrading his god body. This time, he had a large piece of primal chaos godstone. Even if his god body was not as strong as his main body, it should not be too far off. Back at the Demon King's palace, Sun Wuxuan squatted on the chair without a care for his image. Demon Sovereign, I heard that you met with danger this time? Sun Wuxuan grinned and said, I'll go with you next time. The Demon Emperor said, I didn't expect it to be so dangerous. In the future, when there are celestial emperors from the heavenly court, be careful. The people of the heavenly court are too despicable. In order to become stronger, they would do anything. Oh right, Demon Emperor, Demon Master Kuan Yu has been captured alive by the God Court, along with Feng Jiu. Sun Wuxuan slapped his thigh and sighed. This trash is simply a piece of mud that can't be helped up. The demon sovereign's expression remained unchanged as he asked, "What did the demon sovereign say?" "Of course, we will redeem him. However, Kuan Yu has become an immortal emperor. The price for 2 immortal emperors to redeem him is too high." Sun Wuxuan crossed his legs and said, "They are going to divide the ruins." "Divide the ruins?" The demon emperor raised his eyebrows. "Tell me more." In this reorganization of the heavenly realm, the heavenly Tao has given a total of 436 ruins. There seemed to be a lot of ruins, but compared to the entire heaven realm, there weren't many. It was impossible to distribute them evenly. Everyone fought with their own strength. Not only would there be heavy casualties, they might also destroy the ruins. The 4 great powers decided to divide the ruins. Those who were stronger would occupy more, while those who were weaker would occupy less. The demon emperor frowned and said, "The 4 major powers are not planning to split it evenly. What are they planning to do? Compete with the immortal venerables? How could an immortal venerable fight to the death for this relic? This is a battle between immortal emperors." Sun Wuxuan scratched his fur and said, "Besides the 4 great powers, there is also the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance." "Rogue Cultivator Alliance?" The demon, the arch, and the others agreed? The demon sovereign was slightly shocked. The Rogue Cultivator Alliance was pitifully weak. Did the 4 factions have a hole in their heads, or did they find their conscience and decided to give them a share? Right now, the Rogue Cultivators Alliance doesn't only have that bit of strength. They've joined forces with the Immortal Slaying Sect, the Zhen Yuan Sect, as well as the Penglai Immortal Sects and minor immortal sections. Sun Wuxuan said. The Demon Emperor frowned. Lin Qianshan and the others were so powerful that they could ally with the other celestial sects? If these immortal sects joined forces, their strength would indeed be terrifying. Any one of the 4 great powers would have to give way to them. Sun Wuxuan continued, "The demon monarch cannot act, neither can Jiang Chongkong. There is also me, a peak immortal emperor. We will affect the balance." The demon sovereign's battle prowess was already at the pinnacle of the immortal emperor realm. He also had the sage artifact shard. As for Jiang Chongkong, he had a complete god item, the Wheel of Reincarnation. How were they supposed to fight him? As for Sun Wuxuan, he was even more outrageous. He was a peak immortal emperor with a sage artifact. Only an immortal sovereign could come. The 3 of them showed signs of becoming the 3 giants below the celestial venerables. The demon monarch can respond to this matter. "I don't think I need to interfere," Jiang Chongkong said. "I'm afraid not. Although the demon monarch does not have many immortal emperors, there are still some. The underworld," Sun Wuxuan said in a low voice. "This time, the relic will be divided into life and death." The demon monarch looked down. "That will weaken the power." If the demon monarch wanted to weaken the power of his subordinates, he would probably send his immortal emperors. There was no need for many, just the strongest few would be enough. Sun Wuxuan fell silent. Fortunately, the demon monarch did not directly send the immortal emperors. "Can we borrow the sage artifact?" The demon monarch suddenly looked up. Sun Wuxuan was stunned. "Even if we have the sage artifact, it will be a waste if we cannot use its power. Forget it. Let's put this matter aside first. Immortal Emperor Wuxuan, help me investigate the whereabouts of the Rogue Cultivator's Deputy Alliance Leader, Gu Hanshan." The demon monarch also told him about Gu Hanshan's corpse. One died in the primal chaos? There is another Gu Hanshan in the heaven realm? Sun Wuxuan was stunned. Could it be that there were 2 identical people? The demon sovereign said slowly, Jiang Chongkong guessed that the Rogue Cultivator Alliance might be related to the celestial spirits. I wonder if this matter is related to the celestial spirit. I'll go investigate right away. Sun Wuxuan immediately left. Immortal spirits, the common enemy of the heaven realm. The heavenly Tao wouldn't tolerate it. After the ancient era, the immortal world was almost destroyed. Almost every clan in the world of immortals had a grudge against immortal spirit. However, the immortal spirit did not appear now, so they had no way of finding it. After Sun Wuxuan left, the demon emperor contacted Feng Jiu. Feng Jiu sneaked in and even closed the doors of the demon king palace. You are so careful. Are you so afraid of being discovered by the demon Arch? The demon sovereign asked indifferently. Feng Jiu let out a hollow laugh and quickly said, Isn't it to better help the demon monarch? If I am discovered, it will be inconvenient for the demon emperor. The demon emperor nodded and took out a phoenix fruit. Take a look at this. Feng Nine hurried forward and stared at the phoenix fruit with a fiery gaze. Chaotic phoenix fruit? What's the use of this thing? Demon emperor asked. By purifying the bloodline, one can even revert to a chaotic phoenix. However, the power inside is too violent. This violent aura has already suppressed the phoenix bloodline. It needs to be processed before it can be consumed. Feng Jiu stared at it, wanting to swallow it in one mouthful. How far can this fruit help you improve? The demon emperor muttered. Middle stage celestial emperor. Maybe the limit. Potential at the limit of celestial emperor. Feng Jiu quickly said, Chaotic phoenix fruit tree, 3 fruits every 10,000 years. If you consume all 3, you will definitely revert to your ancestry and become a chaotic phoenix or ominous phoenix. You will have the potential to corroborate the Tao. Then, she carefully looked at the demon sovereign. He took out 1. There should be 2 more, right? I do have 2 more. It depends on your future performance. The demon sovereign passed the ominous phoenix fruit to Feng Jiu. Feng Jiu will not let the demon sovereign down in this life. Feng Jiu said emotionally. He had always wanted to purify his bloodline and improve, but he did not have this opportunity. Now that the demon sovereign had given it to him, he had to grab it. As for corroborating the Tao, that was too vague. One could not corroborate the mixed essence Tao just because they had the potential. In the primordial era, there were countless great mediums with the potential to corroborate the Tao, but not all of them had corroborated the Tao. Feng Jiu carefully accepted it and hesitated. Demon Sovereign, under normal circumstances, this chaotic phoenix fruit can only be cultivated by the chaotic phoenix clan. Even in the primordial era, when the Phoenix clan was at its peak, they could only rely on the essence blood of the Phoenix bloodline to barely cultivate a fruit tree. They also needed the chaotic chi from the ancestral Phoenix to water it day and night. Only after tens of thousands of years can it grow. The demon sovereign suddenly looked up. What do you mean? Either there is a chaotic Phoenix clan, or at least a Phoenix that has touched the sage realm. Only then can it be cultivated. Feng Jiu lowered her head and said respectfully. The demon sovereign was shocked. He took out the corpse. There was only 1 at that time. Impossible. This is a chaotic phoenix. It should be a clan. Otherwise, it is impossible to cultivate a fruit tree, Feng Jiu said with certainty. What's going on? Why would the chaotic phoenix clan leave? The migration of any clan is a major event, unless it is a disaster. To be able to cultivate this fruit tree, the chaotic phoenix clan is extremely powerful. Chapter 701. To be able to nurture the chaos phoenix fruit tree, one needed a phoenix or a race that was close to the saint realm. Jiang Chongkong only met 1 and it was only a peak immortal emperor. It was obvious that the chaos phoenix race had left early. If they wanted the chaos phoenixes to migrate, or if there were high-level chaos phoenixes that were willing to leave. Monster Emperor thought about it and linked it to the Blood Tao Chaos Beasts in Clear Wind Hall. The place they went should be the nest of the Chaos Phoenixes. In the experimental ground, where the yin-yang twin chi bottle was, he had suppressed a few chaos beasts, but they were not strong and there were not many of them. Could it be that it was also a group that migrated away, but there were a few that were unwilling to leave, or perhaps they fell behind and didn't manage to escape? If they all left, how was he going to find the chaos beasts and bring them to heaven domain to exchange for heaven power? Monster Emperor ordered, Feng Jiu, pay attention to the chaos divine stones and chaos beasts. Yes. Feng Jiu replied respectfully. Monster Emperor thought about it and passed him the Immortal Emperor chapter of the Phoenix Celestial Sutra. This is from Jiang Changkong. Thank you, Monster Emperor. I will serve you until the end of my life. Feng Jiu's voice was firm and he was extremely emotional. He took the fruit and the Chaos Phoenix's corpse and left. He could not wait to go back and improve. With this fruit and the corpse, he would be able to improve further. There was also the Incomplete Phoenix Celestial Sutra. If he could not improve further, he would be letting down the Monster Emperor. He had some Immortal Emperors in his hands, but there were not many peak Immortal Emperors. There were only those from Huagua Mountain. If the Monster Emperor wanted him to send Immortal Emperors, he would have to take out the yin-yang twin chi bottle for safety. Not long after, Kuan Yu arrived with the Demon Thearcha's orders. He had regained his arrogant look, just like a proud rooster. Monster Emperor, the Monster Emperor has orders for you to send one Immortal Emperor from each realm to participate in the Ruins War. Kuan Yu raised his head and looked at Monster Emperor. How much of the Ruins War will I get? Monster Emperor was not in a hurry to agree. Kuan Yu's expression did not change. We are all members of the Monster Court and belong to the Monster Race. After we get the ruins, the Monster Race will share the items inside. Whoever is capable and contributes more will get more. Will the Demon Tharch also share the information about the ruins? The Demon Emperor asked indifferently. Kuan Yu frowned slightly. Of course we will. Demon King, choose 4 Immortal Emperors and prepare for battle. Alright, I'll get them to contact the Demon Master later. The Demon King agreed. Farewell. Kuan Yu cupped his hands. He was very satisfied with the Demon Emperor's reply. He was worried that the Demon Emperor would reject him. Demon Master, please wait. The Demon Emperor called out. Kuan Yu stopped in his tracks. Demon Sovereign, is there anything else? The Demon King sighed and said in a serious tone, I heard that the Demon Master was captured by the Celestial Court again. Is this true? Kuan Yu. The arrogance on his face instantly turned into exasperation. Kuan Yu lowered his head in embarrassment. Then, he quickly left. This Demon Sovereign was truly inhumane. It wasn't easy for him to regain some of his pride and prestige as a Demon Master, but it was instantly smacked away. Seeing Kuan Yu leave in anger, the Demon Emperor fell into deep thought. Should he give Kuan Yu another round? Continue to be captured by the Divine Court? The next time he made a deal, he couldn't let the Divine Court benefit so easily. He called Sun Wuxuan over and asked him to pick 4 Celestial Emperors to prepare for battle. Of course, he wouldn't let his subordinates die. He planned to lend out the yin-yang dual chi bottle, the Chaos Bell Fragment, the Reincarnation Disc, and the Panga Banner. If he really couldn't do it, he could admit defeat on the spot and take back the ruins in the future. The Demon Emperor didn't want his subordinates to fight to the death for the Demon Emperor. Demon Emperor, there's a clue about Gu Hanshan, Sun Wuxuan said. Where? The Demon Emperor quickly asked. He just left the Celestial Court and is a guest at the Immortal Slaying Sect, Sun Wuxuan said in a deep voice. I found out that the 3 leaders of the Itinerant Cultivators Alliance have a wide range of friends. Many sects and the 4 forces have Celestial Emperors as their friends. Wide range of friends? The Demon Emperor narrowed his eyes with a fierce glint. A group of itinerant cultivators had been exiled to the ancient heaven realm. If they were friends of the 4 forces, he would believe it. But sects like the Zhen Yuan celestial sect had always been developing in the celestial world. They had only ascended after the heavenly realm was reorganized. How did they have any connections in the past? This Gu Hanshan was definitely a fake. Do you have friends in the Zhen Yuan celestial sect? The demon emperor asked. Yes, a late-stage celestial emperor elder, Sun Wuxuan said in a low voice. Taoist Qing Feng was originally a divine mountain and entered the Zhen Yuan celestial sect. The demon emperor nodded, recorded the information, and sent it to his main body. On Mount Buzhou, Jiang Chongkong received the news and rushed to the Zhen Yuan celestial sect. They also had friends in Penglai, but they hadn't found out yet. Ji Yunxiao went with him. She also wanted to see if Lu Qingxian had become a celestial emperor. Jiang Chongkong went there without any prior notice and directly descended. The Zhen Yuan celestial sect had several mountain peaks that pierced the clouds. White clouds floated in the sky, and dense celestial qi filled the air. It was an immortal holy land. The sect protecting array was at the celestial supremacy level and covered the entire sect. Without a guide, without the strength of an celestial supremacy, it was impossible to break through the array. Penglai Immortal Emperor Ji Yunxiao, Jiang Chongkong, pays a visit to the Zhen Yuan celestial sect. Ji Yunxiao's voice resounded throughout the Zhen Yuan celestial sect. Buzz. The sect protecting array opened, and a figure arrived on a cloud. It was their old acquaintance, Lu Qingxian. Oh, it's the two of you. Please come in. Lu Qingxian welcomed them warmly and invited them in. Let's go see the ancestor first, then we can catch up. The celestial supremacy from last time? Jiang Chongkong raised his eyebrows. That's right, it's ancestor Zhenxian. The ancestor predicted that you would come, so he asked me to welcome you at the entrance of the sect. Lu Qingxian smiled. Jiang Chongkong looked shocked. Ji Yunxiao looked calm. The venerable Zhenxian is good at deducing the mysteries of heaven. It's not a big deal for him to predict this. Does this mean that I won't be safe anywhere in the future? What do I want to do? This celestial supremacy can predict with a pinch of his fingers? Then can I ask him to help me predict where there are chaos beasts? Of course, he was just thinking about it. No matter how powerful the Zhen Yuan celestial sect was, it could not be so terrifying. If he could calculate it clearly, he would not be the venerable Zhen Yuan, but the great sage Zhen Yuan. Following Lu Qingxian, they came to the top of a mountain. There were no buildings here, only an old Taoist in a green robe, holding a horsetail whisk and a futon. Qingxian, take Yunxiao to the sect. I have something important to discuss with the immortal Emperor of Justice. The venerable Zhenxian said lightly. Yes, ancestor. Lu Qingxian responded respectfully and left with Ji Yunxiao. Greetings, venerable immortal. Jiang Chongkong bowed and bowed. The venerable Zhenxian returned the greeting and waved his horsetail whisk. Sit down. The venerable immortal predicted my return. I wonder if you can predict what it is for? Jiang Chongkong sat cross-legged on the futon and said calmly. The venerable Zhenxian smiled and said, I can't. The immortal Emperor of Justice has a holy object that can hide the mysteries of heaven. He also has an immortal title. He is an immortal favored by the heavenly way and cannot be underestimated. Jiang Chongkong was silent. He did not know whether to tell the truth in front of this person. Chapter 702. Looking at the silent Jiang Chongkong, Venerable Zhenxian smiled and stroked his beard. His black hair draped over his shoulders, his beard stroked gently, and his eyes were as deep as the endless starry sky. Since you're here, speak your mind. I'm not an evil person. Even if I don't allow it, I will not make things difficult for you. Venerable Immortal Zhenxian said. Then I will speak frankly. Jiang Chongkong bowed again and said, I have already joined the Rogue Cultivator Alliance and am now one of the Vice Alliance leaders. However, I did not know that the Rogue Cultivator Alliance has such a wide network. Not long ago, I found out that the Rogue Cultivators Alliance has connections with the Zhen Yuan Celestial Sect and the Penglai Immortal Slaying Sect. Venerable Zhen Xian nodded slightly. Immortal Emperor of Justice, do you want to take over the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance's network? Jiang Chongkong shook his head. No, it's just that I have a lot of doubts in my heart, so I came here to seek answers. Immortal Lord Zhen Xian smiled and waited for his explanation. When Jiang Chongkong took out Gu Hanshan's body, the corners of Venerable Immortal Zhenxuan's eyes twitched. He had heard of this Rogue Cultivator Deputy Alliance Master. A few days ago, he even came to see Immortal Emperor Qingfeng. Could it be that he was killed by Jiang Chongkong right after he left the Zhen Yuan sect? I obtained this in the primal chaos. When Jiang Chongkong told him what had happened, Venerable Immortal Zhen Xian's expression gradually became solemn. In that case, the current Gu Hanshan was probably fake. The itinerant immortal emperors were exiled to the ancient heaven realm and went to the chaos. It should be difficult for them to get to know the immortal emperors of the immortal sect. Jiang Chongkong added. From the immortal world, I can reach the primordial chaos. Venerable Zhen Xian pondered and said, let's put this matter aside for now. I will pay attention to Green Peak. However, another variable has appeared in the heavenly realm. Jiang Chongkong raised his eyebrows. The heavenly court. Venerable Zhen Xian said solemnly, that person in the heavenly courts stole the research results of the ancient immortal gods. Immortal Emperor of Justice knows this as well. Jiang Chongkong nodded. He was not surprised that Venerable Zhen Xian knew about this. It would be abnormal if an existence that stood at the peak of the heaven realm didn't know anything. The research results of the ancient immortals and gods are enough for him to take a step forward, but this kind of progress is not permitted by the heavenly Tao. This time, I agreed to the division of the ruins because I was considering this matter and wanted to give that person in the heavenly court a reminder. Venerable Immortal Zhen Xian said. Were they preparing to work together to put pressure on the heavenly court? Jiang Chongkong thought. However, would that person in the heavenly court give up? Definitely not. The research results of the ancient immortal gods would be what he relied on to become the only celestial emperor. Is the Zhen Yuan celestial sect planning to intervene in the affairs of the heaven realm? Jiang Chongkong pondered. Immortal Supremacy Zhen Xian sighed softly. I only made a move once, hoping to keep the heavenly court's celestial emperor in check and make him give up this method. Take out the reincarnation disc, I have something to return to you. Return it to me? Jiang Chongkong was stunned. He took out the reincarnation wheel. Celestial Venerable doesn't seem to owe me anything. I owe that person. If it wasn't for that person's enlightenment, there wouldn't be the Zhen Xian of today. Celestial Lord Zhen Xian sighed slightly and stroked the reincarnation disc. 3 streams of malevolent qi entered the reincarnation disc. The reincarnation disc trembled and let out a joyful cry. These 3 streams of malevolent qi can protect you 3 times. In the entire heaven realm, unless a saint appears, no one can keep you here. Celestial Lord Zhen Xian's expression was solemn. I hope that the Celestial Emperor of Justice will use it carefully because I don't know where this malevolent qi will take you. It was left by Hutu. Jiang Chongkong's expression froze. Celestial Lord Zhen Xian remained silent. Jiang Chongkong wanted to ask again, but Celestial Lord Zhen Xian said, does the owner of the reincarnation disc have these 3 streams of malevolent qi? Now that you have the reincarnation disc, it belongs to you. I will remind you again that the reincarnation disc has supreme power. You haven't activated it yet. Once you activate it, ordinary celestial venerables might not be your match. After a pause, Celestial Lord Zhen Xian seemed to know something and sighed softly. You are not suitable to be the master of the heaven realm. Give up. Why? Jiang Chongkong frowned. How should I activate this reincarnation disc? Since Celestial Lord Zhen Xian mentioned it, It was definitely not something that could only be activated when one reached the celestial venerable realm. The heavenly way will not agree. You will know about the reincarnation disc when the opportunity comes. Celestial Lord Zhen Xian swept his horsetail whisk, and a powerful force took him down the mountain. Jiang Chongkong was a little depressed but also a little happy. He was depressed because he was left behind by Celestial Lord Zhen Xian. He was happy because he could be considered a person with life-saving means, and it was of a higher level than the Celestial Venerables. And it was 3 times. This must have been left by Hutu. It was a life-saving means of a saint. Even a Celestial Venerable at the limit could not catch up. As for the Master of the Heaven Realm, if he didn't try, who knew if the heavenly way would change its mind in the end? What if he became a saint and defeated the heavenly way? Celestial Lord Zhen Xian directly sent him to Lu Qingxuan's side. They were discussing the way. Jiang Chongkong was not very interested. After listening for a while, he left. This time, he did not go to find Gu Han's Han again. Instead, he returned to the divine planet where the Rogue Cultivators Alliance was located. He tore through space and returned. The sky was already dark, but it was bright inside the divine planet. The golden heptachi illuminated the space. Jiang Chongkong sat high in the immortal Emperor of Justice Hall. His divine power spread across the entire divine planet. All immortals of the Itinerant Cultivator Alliance, including the immortal emperors, come and see me. Jiang Chongkong's voice spread throughout the entire divine planet. Sun Li and the other 2 were the first to arrive. The immortal emperors also arrived. 15 minutes later, thousands of immortals arrived on the divine planet. They were all experts, and the weakest was an immortal lord. Immortal Emperor of Justice, why did you summon us here? An immortal emperor asked. He was a little puzzled as to why all the immortals had been summoned. Although not all the immortals were here, they were more than half. A small half were still in the ruins and had not rushed back. I think the alliance can change its leader. Jiang Chongkong looked at this immortal emperor. He was quite strong, mid-stage immortal emperor. The thousands of immortals. The 7 immortal emperors. There were originally 14 immortal emperors. Jiang Chongkong had killed 1, so there were 13 left. Lin Qianshan and the other 2 had left with 3, so there were 7 left. The 7 immortal emperors were dumbfounded. Jiang Chongkong had been very arrogant back then. If he had the strength, he would have changed the leader. Lin Qianshan had endured it in the end. How long had it been? The moment they left, he wanted to change the leader? Jiang Chongkong said calmly, I wanted to ask for their opinion, but I couldn't contact them. So I decided to change the leader first. He had wanted to get rid of Gu Han's Han and the others and change the leader openly. Now, it seemed like he could only be the leader first. Immortal Emperor of Justice, that's not good, right? The mid-stage immortal emperor's face twitched. Who would take the position the moment someone left? You all think it's not good too? Jiang Chongkong looked at the other immortals. The immortals didn't say anything. Were their opinions important? Sun Li and the other 2 hurriedly said, We support Alliance Leader Jiang. The Heaven Realm is all about strength. Alliance Leader Jiang has the strength. The other immortals remained silent. The mid-stage immortal emperor heaved a sigh of relief and said, Deputy Alliance Leader, look, no one knows what to do or, that's easy. Jiang Chongkong interrupted him. Chaos divine power gathered, and the mid-stage immortal emperor flew uncontrollably towards Jiang Chongkong. With a bang, blood splattered. He stood up, ignoring the corpse on the ground. He looked at the other immortal emperors and the many immortal gods. Now, do you all know what to do? The thousands of immortal gods were silent. They hurriedly said, We support Alliance Leader Jiang. Alliance Leader Jiang will definitely lead us to glory. We also support Alliance Leader Jiang. The remaining 6 immortal emperors braced themselves and said, Too cruel. You killed an immortal emperor just because of a disagreement. Do you really think immortal emperors are cabbages? How did you get the position of Immortal Emperor of Justice? Is the heavenly Tao blind? Chapter 703. Since yours truly is the Alliance Master now, hand over your resources. Jiang Chongkong said calmly. The mid-stage Immortal Emperor's spatial equipment flew into his hands. The 6 Immortal Emperors had ugly expressions, but they had to hand it over. The thousands of Immortals' expressions changed. They had worked so hard to get their hands on some resources, but now they were all going to be handed over to Jiang Chongkong? Lin Qianshan and the rest knew to leave half for them, but Jiang Chongkong didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't make myself clear. Jiang Chongkong took out a Chaos Beast Corp. Its majestic aura made it hard for them to breathe. I will use an Immortal Emperor level Chaos Beast to trade with you. Alliance leader Jiang is wise. The Immortals were excited. So that was the case. They were scared to death. With an Immortal Emperor level Chaos Beast Corpse, what resources did they need? Jiang Chongkong added, I only want Immortal Stones, and the lowest is an Immortal King. Immortal Lords don't need to come. Sunli, the 3 of you help me handle it. Alliance leader Jiang, what do you think? The 6 Immortal Emperors looked on. They wanted it too. This Chaos Beast was a late-stage Immortal Emperor. It was stronger than them. If they could refine this Chaos Beast Corpse, it would definitely be better than Grade 7 Immortal Stones. You guys can split it. Jiang Chongkong took out another Chaos Beast and threw it to them. Oh right, you can trade with Chaos Divine Stones too. The Immortals were overjoyed. There was no longer any resentment in their hearts. In comparison, Jiang Chongkong was better. In the future, you can use all your gains from the ruins to trade. If you need to deal with the Chaos Beasts, I can help too. There is no charge, Jiang Chongkong said. Thank you, Alliance leader Jiang. Some of the Peak God Kings almost cried. This was a kind Alliance leader. Lin Qianshan, Gu Hanshan, Pei Yuanheng, they could all go to hell. From now on, they would fully support Jiang Chongkong. Alliance leader, we are not allowed to enter the ruins. The 4 factions are planning to divide the ruins, an Immortal Emperor said. Lin Qianshan and the rest are rushing about for this. That's right, Alliance leader. I heard that you are not allowed to participate at that time. An Immortal Emperor spoke in a low voice. Jiang Chongkong waved his hand and said, It's fine. I have a good relationship with the Demon Emperor. If it doesn't work, we can go to the Demon Court ruins. As for the relic, he would deal with it according to the situation. The Immortal Venerables had to keep the Heavenly Emperor in check and should not have time to care about him. Since that's the case, I'm afraid it's not up to you whether I participate or not. At that time, he could encourage Sun Wuxuan and see if he could change the rules. As for the alliance between Lin Qianshan and the others, he didn't care. Previously, he was not strong enough and his hands and feet were tied. After all, there was an Immortal Venerable above him. As an Immortal Lord, with 3 baleful auras to protect his life, he had nothing to fear. In any case, he would not die. In the entire Heaven Realm, no one could kill him. What was there to worry about? If you're not satisfied, then fight. Kill them all. After collecting all the resources, Jiang Chongkong began to look through them. After coming out of the relic, these immortals had basically obtained some benefits. The 6 Immortal Emperors also had many good things. He counted the 7th grade Immortal Stones, 400 mid-grade Immortal Stones, 950 low-grade Immortal Stones, 6th grade Immortal Stones, 3,500 top-grade, 16,000 high-grade, 30,000 mid-grade, 10,000 low-grade. Essence, Qi, and Spirit, 1,495,000. It was not enough for his late-stage Tao body. He still needed about 250,000. There were quite a lot of Chaos Divine Stones, 13 in total. It should be enough to upgrade the Monster Emperor's divine body to another level. Unfortunately, the Monster Emperors were all a bunch of poor people. The Monster Tharch, who was a brother on the surface, only had a mouth and did not give any real benefits. The Celestial Emperors were too poor. 6 celestial emperors added together were not even as good as 2 mutated celestial emperors of the heavenly courts. Why don't I help the heavenly courts, let them all mutate and then kill them? After taking out the Chaos Divine Stones, Jiang Chongkong told them to go into seclusion. He split a portion of Chaos Divine power and hid it in their bodies. Once someone had an accident or contacted Gu Hanshan and the others, he would be able to find out immediately and kill them. He tore open space and arrived at the Chaos Divine Fire Relic. Stop! At the entrance of the relic, a group of immortals guarded it. One of them said coldly, "The Celestial Dharch has ordered that no one is allowed to enter the relic." Scram! Jiang Chongkong glanced at him, and the immortal spirit was sent flying. Didn't he know who he was? The Celestial Dharch could not control him. The immortal spirit got up and was about to get angry when an immortal king raised his hand to stop them. "There is only Chaos Divine Fire inside. Let him in." "Lord, but the Celestial Dharch is there." The immortal spirit hesitated. "That is the immortal Emperor of Justice. If he wants to die, he can go," the immortal king said coldly. The immortal spirits immediately shut up. Immortal Emperor of Justice Jiang Chongkong was a ruthless person. He did not care which faction they were from. He would definitely dare to kill them. The celestial emperors of the heavenly courts, if not for their celestial venerables, would have been killed long ago. The Chaos Divine Fire burned and the Chaos Divine Stones melted. Pages of immortal sutras and information about the relic entered Jiang Chongkong's mind. Of the 13 Chaos Divine Stones, 5 contained information, 2 contained immortal sutras, and 3 contained relic. Jiang Chongkong digested the information and divided the relic. It should be in these 2 days. If he went, he might not make it in time. The Demon Emperor did not have the time. This was a critical moment and he could not leave. Sun Wuxuan could not either. It looked like he could only wait for now. As for creating more avatars, forget it. He did not have the energy or that many treasures. Soon, the Demon Emperor arrived and fused with the Chaos Divine Stones to strengthen his body. After leaving the relic and returning to the Divine Planet, it should not be difficult for the Demon Emperor to think of a way to get the remaining 200,000 essences. The Demon Emperor returned. Sun Wuxuan was drinking wine. Demon Emperor, the 4 celestial emperors have been chosen. This emperor and that Jiang Chongkong discussed, and he is willing to lend us the sage artifact. However, it is precious and Jiang Chongkong wants resources. The Demon Emperor said, "Resources? This is a small matter. How much?" Sun Wuxuan said nonchalantly. The Demon Emperor said solemnly, 10,000 top 7th grade immortal stones. Sun Wuxuan. This was a big matter. 10,000 top 7th grade immortal stones? Why did he not rob them? This friendship was fake, right? How about we don't lend it? This immortal Emperor Justice is really not a good person. Where can the Demon Emperor find so many immortal stones? Sun Wuxuan bared his teeth, his eyes almost spitting fire. 10,000 top 7th grade immortal stones was equivalent to 4 million essences. The Demon Emperor could not even afford the wages of his subordinate. He definitely could not afford it. Immortal Emperor Wuxuan, this matter will be difficult for you. The Demon Emperor sighed. Difficult for me? Sun Wuxuan was stunned and said warily, Huagua Mountain can't afford it either. 10,000 top 7th grade immortal stones was too much. Even if Huagua Mountain could afford it, they might not agree. This time, it is for the demon race, for the demon court, Immortal Emperor Wuxuan, Demon Emperor, Huagua Mountain supports you, but it does not mean that Huagua Mountain has to take out everything. You can't be so ruthless, Sun Wuxuan screamed. The Demon Emperor waved his hand. You are wrong. I want you to go to the demon court. I am the Demon Emperor, so it is not good for me to appear. Only you can go. This time, the division of the ruins is also for the demon court. We can't contribute people, and we have to spend resources to borrow immortal stones. I see. I will go now, Sun Wuxuan hurriedly said. Don't be in a hurry. If we want resources, we can't just say that we won't do anything. We can make a fuss and show off our contributions. This time, for the demon court, the demon emperor will definitely give some. 10,000 is too much.